under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion? I'm so done with holy ghosting. My birth, it is an omen. Lay me down up in the ocean until you see no motion. Right now I can barely focus. I'm showing no emotion. On your knees, show your devotion. My skin is black but golden. I'm not here for bragging, boasting. Ain't lying, I've been chosen. Mind is burning, heart's exploding. This is my magnum opus. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd. But still I just look around, are you with me now? Are you with me? Step in the fire, get ready to take it higher. Real coming out your amplifier. Y'all want every black man to be rich and proud. Why these weapons up and turn into shy, huh? Cell phone became your brother. Internet replaced your mother. You leaving homies on red. It's no wonder all your friends dead. Jealousy was a centerpiece, so my best friends turned to enemies. Sabotage my identity. Why they wanna treat me like a Kennedy? They wanna affect the legacy. Protect the heart, I cut off the extremities. I'll never be another piece in your recipe for social supremacy. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd. But till I just look around, are you with me now? Are you with me now? Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me now? Whoa. I feel it coming now. It's too late to shut it down. Away the mountain now. Burning the valley down. I don't know where my mind is. Don't even know what time is. Somebody stop the virus. I don't think I survived this. I feel it coming now. It's too late to shut it down. Over the mountain now. Burning the valley down. I don't know where my mind is. Don't even know what time is. Somebody stop the virus. Room full of bodies, but nothing but silence. Yeah, I'm quiet, but all that shyness. Go crazy, turn this bitch into an asylum. You fly, but we ain't looking for pilots. I never bow down to a tyrant, his highness. Even Jack said, all them giants. What goes up comes down, man, that's basic science. Look at my iris and you'll see the fines. I'd rather not get involved with you. What's the problem, man? I'll solve all you sign. How you find when your time up? How you climb when your line stuck? Barbershop getting lined up. Yeah, your hair good, but your mind super clear. Uber everywhere. This sound like Superman is here. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me now?
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by my lovely wife, Brittany the Shadow, as well as via Zoom by a killer cast that we got lined up here. I just realized I only have your face on the screen right now, Ethan. So let me go back to the entire cast view here. Hold on a second. We got the whole gallery right here. Entire killer cast of none other than, I don't know where I start. Luke Hansen. There's me in the middle. We're going clockwise. Ethan Fawcett, Brad Whitbeck, Greg Mattson, and Ben Rogers, also known as Dr. Manhatva on Twitter. And we will be enjoying the presence of two other people we would like to excuse temporarily the Paul brothers who are out serving our country. They just got bailed out by an anti-war president like 3 days after their deployment. And they did give me this shirt, however, at the launch party of Jonah Barnes' book, who also will not be able to attend today. But I decided to wear that in honor of them and their deployment. And also Jacob Hansen will be joining us quickly. And we're going to be talking about this. Today, we're going to be reacting to, well, frankly, what everybody is reacting to. That is the election of 47th president in the United States of America, Donald John Trump. And the overarching question is woke broke? What does this mean for the church with the big C? What does this mean for the church with a little c? And I will start out just with one small little mini speech here. I'll tell you what this live stream is going to be and what it's not going to be. Okay, what it is definitely going to be is a lot of fun. We denounce deception. We delight in truth. We have fun. Okay. We are recklessly faithful. But also nobody here is going to be, stomping on the graves of the opposition's campaign or anything like that. We're given 24 hours for partisan nonsense. We're going to analyze implications thereof. We're going to talk a lot of stats and we're going to have a lot of fun. But we're trying our best to lead by example on letting there be a cool off period before you rub people's face in it objectively, right? So anyway, who wants to go first about what they thought and what they think this means? Ethan, we're just going to start clockwise here. I've got some... I've got some wild things. This is a massive realignment here. I've got some wild theories, but I don't know if I want to spout them yet. So who wants to go first? Actually, just who wants to go first? I don't know if we're ready to drop Cardinellis bombs yet. Who wants to go first? I say, you know what? Greg, seniority wins, man. You get to go first, dude. You get to go first. You're the OG of conservative... what, I don't know, LDS YouTube or whatever. Tell us what you think. Ben, you go next. The rest of us will kick in.
Is woke broke? The answer is no. It is definitely not broke. Is it going to be receding to some degree? Absolutely. It already has started. The numbers show that. There's a lot of different demographics you can look at that point to that happening right now. And we may see it recede for the next 4 years under this administration. I would guess that is the case. But it's also going to surge in the case of those that are galvanizing against Trump and trying to fight back and push the agenda forward. Here's the one thing I would look at is, I always look at this in this way because I've had, I've spoken to people like James Lindsay and followed people like Rufo and others that really follow these things closely. And I've studied this for about 13 years now. And I've gone through these cycles. I've seen these things happen. There's always a pushback, right? There's the Hegelian dialectic. You've got a pushback and then it goes out even further, a pushback. It goes out even further. We're in a pushback mode right now. And but the problem is two things. One, it is a religion. And once you realize this, when you realize it's a religion and you realize that people are converted, they are zealots, then having some pushback like, oh, bummer, I guess our way didn't go things didn't go our way this time. It's not like that, right? It doesn't work that way. I mean, you can look at the media's response already today and see clearly that they are entrenched in identity politics. Their excuses for loss right now are essentially that it was a black woman that was running and they won't vote for a black woman. And white women wouldn't vote for a black woman. And it's just everything over and over again. It's about identity politics. So that's number one. This is a religion. The converts are not going to be deconverted very easily. Number two is this has been going on since the 30s at a pretty strong rate. And I say 30s, 1930s. And has infiltrated first the academy and then all of the other institutions in the U.S. So you can go to finally ending up since Occupy Wall Street, they took over the Fortune 500. And so all of the institutions in the U.S. are owned by woke mobs. And to say that we're all of a sudden going to turn that I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it's such a gargantuan task and such a massive cultural shift to be able to push back. Here I am, Mr. Doomsday, right?
I was going to say, bro, I don't want to be on the Titanic with you, man. You're the guy that's like, even the women and children won't survive on these lifeboats. The whole thing's going down. Write your will and testament and stick it in a bottle. It will be, even that's going to sink. Anyway, keep going. Finish what you're saying,
I've
dog.
been on cloud nine for the past 20
my
hours.
point is this. I mean, it's nice to have some relief and to think that it's all being pushed back. That's great. It is. There are a lot of, you see a lot of policies and laws in the states that are turning against wokeism. The youth, the 18 to 30-year-olds are turning against it at a pretty good rate. I've got some numbers here that are astounding. And so there is a pushback. But I think that my point is we need to understand that for wokeism to really kind of die off, to be broke, it is a massive, massive undertaking.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of hope here. I'm just going to react to this, and then we're going to move on to Ben. I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. Yes, you are doomsdayer, bro. Okay? Because I've been texting you for 6 months. Look at this, bro. Woke is broke. Look, here's this podcast between Jillian Michaels and Anna Kasparian. Here's, the CEO of Starbucks. Here's this thing that Bill Maher said. I got a question for you. When a car is traveling on the freeway, and it throws a rod, okay? And all of a sudden it can no longer create more power because it's just blown a gasket. It's still moving forward. It still has inertia. And it may not come to a complete stop for another quarter mile. But you have to ask yourself, did that engine brake once it came to a full and complete stop? Or did it brake a quarter mile backwards when it threw a rod? In my opinion, it broke when it threw a rod and it could no longer pull its own weight, okay? And I'm telling you, that has happened. We just watched, regardless of what you think about Trump, to me, this isn't even about Trump. We just watched the death of the media class in America. The experts that for all of 2016 to 2020, they survived being the opposition branch of the U.S. government, making Donald Trump out to be everything from a Russian asset to a rapist to a bankrupt charlatan to literally everything possible that a media could do to anybody, making him Hitler, making him everything that he could be compared to. And frankly, it worked for a while. But at this point, I think woke, I think you're right. It's not broke in the sense that nobody subscribes to it. It hasn't come to a full and complete stop. But what has happened is it's no longer carrying its own weight and it is slowing down. And it just slowed down enough that somebody like Donald Trump could get elected. And enough people are waking up that 51% for the popular vote or whatever could be achieved. So I think the pendulum, you're right. It's not maybe done swinging because we're going to look at the stats in Utah later. You know what I'm saying? The pendulum is not done swinging, but I would say it's no longer carrying in its own weight. And I think that is an advent of the past 18 months, 2023 to 2024 will be the years that are on the headstone of woke. That's just my supposition.
Yeah, I would say it didn't throw a rod. It's got a flat tire.
Oh, okay. Well, you give it too much credit. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just glad that didn't turn into like a math word problem. I thought you were going to ask me, like, when does the Trump train come and intercede the truck? And I'm like, I don't know.
Brittany, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm actually not feeling so great, but I'm here.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Well,
hear
it's good
that.
to see you.
Well, thanks.
You want my 2 cents here, Carter?
Yeah, I was about to say, you're up next. Ben, hit us.
Yeah. Well, it goes back further than the 30s. Essentially, I know this sounds theatrical and dramatic, especially in our culture, but literally we are run by secret combinations. I'm not trying to be the Latter-day Saint Alex Jones. It's just kind of
The Utah conservative is in the chat. The Utah conservative is in the chat. We're run by secret combinations.
I mean, it's not. They're not so secret. But here's the thing: instead of being gloom and doom, they have fired every single shot they could. Indictments, convictions, lawfare. In my opinion, cheating. 4 years ago, all the way to literally trying to shoot him in the head. And I mean, they literally did shoot him in the head. And he's still standing, and he won, and he has a mandate. And not only that, he has RFK Jr., he has Tulsi Gabbard, he has Ron Paul, and most importantly, he has Elon Musk. They have fired every shot they have. They have nothing left. They're bending the knee, and we have our biggest cannons all pointed right at them. So they'll never go away. They'll never, fade into obscurity. But right now, it's okay to, have a little bit of hype, be excited about what's going on, because in my entire life, this is the biggest political earthquake that's ever occurred. This is on like the scale of 9/11. You have a guy that had an election, you can say he lost it or it was taken from him. And 4 years later, after they used every single lever from making up stuff about Russia to weird, inappropriate tapes with Russian women to going after his family, his children, and he's still standing and he smiles. He's the happiest warrior I've ever seen in my life. And he's standing on that stage last night with Dana White and his whole family, and Barron Trump's like 9 feet tall. I mean, there is time. It is okay to be excited today. It's not always going to be this way. Just remember this day when we have down days. But there's a lot to be excited about.
This is a lot of people may not like me saying this, but similarly to you, I was going to say I have not.
By the way, dude, I just got to interrupt. I was told by Cardin my face is orange. I did that for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
my lighting has made me orange, and the lights behind me, and I'm just rolling with that in celebration of Donald Trump.
That's funny.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm going to make it bigger there just for a second so everybody can see it and it's in all of its glory. So I was going to say a lot of people, this may be a very unpopular opinion with some people, but I really thought since, 2012, we haven't seen a big, giant, happy family. We haven't seen a big, giant, happy family come on screen after not an inauguration, but after an election or on, an election night since Mitt Romney won the nomination for the Republican Party in 2012, and just like this big, giant, beautiful, genuinely, authentically happy family. Like, we all know the scandals that Donald Trump has been involved in, but you cannot fake all of that happiness on stage that was obviously genuine from all of his children and his wife loving him. And his son being like freaking the Jolly Green Giant.
Dude, you and I are tall. And we look ridiculous around Barron Trump. Really quick, just one more thing. I know everybody wants to talk, and I'm not trying to hog up all the time. But there's a book called The Fourth Turning. And Mike Lee was talking about it when we were doing
You are a conspiracy theorist. I love it.
No.
Secret combinations in the fourth turning.
No. Hold on. You've seen the meme that, weak men or strong men create good times create strong men. You've all
strong
seen the
men
meme.
Create easy times, and easy times create weak men.
I've quoted Neil Strauss and Dr. How
we are right about to enter into the strong men create good times. We are in that fourth turning right now, and everyone should be excited about it. We are through that cycle, and we're about to start again, and it's going to be a wonderful time for hopefully the next 15 years. But we'll see. A lot can happen, but we have a lot to be optimistic about. This fourth turning has happened. We are through the weak men. We're entering into strong men and good times. So.
Dude, awesome. So Brad, talk to me, bro. Speaking of strong men, you got the best eyebrows and beard in this entire place, dog. What are your thoughts as our resident Canadian diplomat, dude?
Okay, first off, I gotta say I think Ben is beating me in the beard department. I think it is glorious right now.
I can't really see it. I'm on my phone, dude, and I have a half-inch screen of my own face.
Oh yeah.
I'll just have to.
No, trust me on this one. But
Appreciate it.
Something that I would say with this one, I'm fascinated to see how we navigate this as members of the church who are trying to make sure that we're being peacemakers, loving our neighbor, I think it's like Ben's saying, rejoice that you've got something good going. But I also think it's important that we look out for people who might be in a position where they're not rejoicing in this moment, right? And see what can we do to help them understand why it is that we're rejoicing, right? And see what it is that can maybe help them find some rejoicing ideas behind. I'm kind of coming at this from a person who is in a theater background. So let's just say Ward Radio is not my most liberal group chat that I'm a member of.
Okay.
And, I think
mine.
that yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm definitely kidding.
But what I want to say is I think that there are people out there who have been manipulated by the media in a way that makes them nervous about a Trump presidency. And I want to make sure that, like, in our rejoicing for good things to come for the nation, hopefully, right, that we don't end up leaving those people feeling like they're getting dumped on and that they're in trouble, or that they're like, I think the media is so good about having us feel like we're one side or the other, and a victory for one side is a total loss for the other, when really we should be aiming to be America and aiming to come together. And something that Ben said that made me think of this, that's actually really good, is when you look at who Trump has on his team, you have RFK, right? You have Tulsi Gabbard. You have a lot of people coming together in a very, in my mind, sort of centrist sort of view that I think can hopefully inspire hope in a lot of people. I don't know. That's just what's been on my mind. But I'm talking too much. So
I'll piggyback off
I
of
love
what
you, Brad.
said.
Love you too, Ben.
Brad, you're so nice. I love Brad. And I agree with everything you said, but also I think it kind of depends on the person, because there's some people that I would love to just dump all over because they've been so nasty that I kind of want to be like, oh my gosh, like you got screwed out.
You get one
election.
day. You get one day to do that.
Right. I'm gonna take a week. I'm gonna be a little liberal on that one. So anyway,
that's funny.
Depends on the person, I would say.
Names, babe. Do you have any names? Would you like
I've
to
got
share
tons of
any
names.
specifics here? No, I'm totally just not chicken. Sorry, I'm totally just kidding. So really fast, Luke, give us your thoughts, and then I want to go over something with Ethan before he goes and frees up a spot for Jacob. So
I have general thoughts on the election, and then a little bit more on what Greg was talking about, woke. Not necessarily pushback, but kind of a different perspective I have on it. First of all, it's the story, like no matter what side you're on, just the story of this victory is kind of mind-blowing. Like this billionaire playboy philanthropist,
it's too ridiculous
TV
to
star
believe.
who got mocked by Obama for he's never going to become president in 2012, comes and takes it on his first shot completely out of the blue, then gets impeached twice, more than any other president. January 6th happens. He gets convicted of 34 counts of felony, which has never happened in 250 years of American history. He teams up with a guy the richest man in the world, who revolutionized the car industry and is trying to go to Mars, and bought Twitter on a whim to spread free speech.
Yes.
And then teamed up with the guy who's the descendant of an assassinated president and another assassinated presidential candidate. And then you just throw in a couple of the biggest podcasters in the world on the side, and they launched this movement to make the second comeback in the history, like the second election non-consecutive in the history of America. He gets 1 inch away from being shot on live TV, and then almost gets shot a second time, and then pulls off the most solid victory that he's had of any of the 3 times he's run. Like,
beautiful.
It's insane. It's absolutely
beautiful,
insane. Luke. And maybe some people think, and I've heard this from some Twitter accounts, that Trump is like, we get what we deserve in a bad kind of way. Like Trump is our retribution. We're going to get what we deserve. Whereas I think most people in this chat are thinking we get what we deserve in the sense of we've rounded the corner of the pride cycle, like Ben Rogers was saying. Whatever way you think about it, I think you have to admit that God must have had some sort of hand in this, assassination attempt alone, I think you have to conclude that God had some sort of a hand in this. You can interpret it what conclusion that purpose that God had on your own, but he had a hand in it. Now, to bring it back to Twitter specific, I mean, not Twitter specifically, but wokeness specifically, I am going to pull up what I said on Twitter because I put
I was going to steal this from you.
Yeah, and Ben was trying to steal this from me before he knew that I was on the live stream.
This is a good tweet.
My response to Greg, kind of your point, I think totally woke is going to survive. It might even thrive in universities and other places. It's definitely not going away. But I think the election may have crippled the spread of woke in the church, because up to now, woke people were very openly woke. That they have like complete confidence that the arc of history is bending their way. They felt that they didn't need to argue their position. Virtuous people were on their team. People who have hate in their heart were not on the team, and that's the divide. And this works great on women. And Greg, you've talked about this a lot, because woke hacks that empathy that women have. But it doesn't only hack their empathy, it also hacks their mimetic tendencies. And a mimetic tendency that women have means they like to copy and conform to those around them, which is good in some instances and bad in others, just like male aggression is good in some instances and bad in others. So it hacks that empathy and mimetic tendencies. So in an election like this, when that illusion of consensus that we all, like, most people agree on woke and there's just some bad people that don't agree with it and it's just because they're bad people, I think this election cracks that consensus and illusion of consensus. And once that cracks, more women will feel empowered to speak up, thereby breaking that illusion of consensus for other women, and a snowball happens. So woke will still be around. It's not going away, but I think in places like these Relief Society lessons that you talked about, Greg, this election could be a signal to women to say, hey, you can speak up about this, and you're not going to be the only one that's pushing back on some of these ideas. And I think that could really crack this dam open in some places that are struggling with this in the church. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, that actually goes really well with what Brad was saying before, and something that I was talking to my wife about today, because my wife, sees all these people on social media. She comes from a theater background as well, and she was talking about how all these people, they're talking about, like, Trump's going to start killing all these trans people, and he's just going to take away all our rights, and all these really extreme things. And my wife was like, that can't be true. And I was like, because it's not. Like, but they've been told that that's true. And so I think that it's an opportunity where hopefully, and this will especially happen, I think, over time. Time's a factor here. 6 months from now, when Trump hasn't gone on any, harmful rages against any particular groups. I was trying to think of a YouTube-friendly word there.
Yeah.
Then people will start to realize, oh, maybe I was lied to a little bit. Maybe what I heard wasn't true. And then we can be there to minister to those people, to kind of heal friendships, not to convert them politically, but to heal the division that's been in our country.
I actually really appreciate.
Ethan,
oh, go, Brad. I was going to toss to you anyway. Go, Brad.
Okay. To that point, I actually saw some comments on Reddit of people being like, because it was fascinating to just during the election be on X and pop over to Reddit and just see the vast difference in reactions. And I saw some people on Reddit who were like, oh my gosh, are we in an echo chamber? Have we been in an echo chamber this whole time? Yeah.
No way. An echo chamber, get out of town.
Yeah. And that was fascinating. So I appreciate you bringing that up that way. Cardin, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say also, before we dump into these stats and some of my heinous conspiracy theories about where the church is going in terms of its realignment politically, I do want to say I'm an anti-niceness culture guy. Anybody that watches this show knows that I am totally anti-niceness culture, but I'm not anti-kindness. And I think that to a certain extent, a lot of this Trump derangement syndrome, a lot of this everything else derangement syndrome, except for this weird online version of Christianity that I've adopted that is somehow indelibly mixed with social progressivism, is bad. You know what I'm saying? I do want to make sure that, like, how can we celebrate this? You know what I'm saying? While simultaneously ensuring that we make sure people see, like, look, the apocalypse that will not come, that you were told was going to come, is not happening. And I want you to pay attention because I love you as a friend, so you will stop thinking that these people and these mainstream media outlets and these folks that profit off division, stop listening to them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like, how?
I got an idea.
Yeah, what?
Trump has the 250th anniversary of the founding of America in 2 years. We just throw the biggest party imaginable for the whole country that make it last a week. Right, left, everyone. We'll just party. We're going to celebrate being Americans.
I hope so.
That's what we need to do.
I hope so, because my biggest thing that I get out of this is I want those that have been afflicted with the mental illness of Trump derangement syndrome
It really
to
is
to
mental
really
illness.
like it's bad. It's broken up I have cousins that haven't talked to me since I voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
Yeah.
Like, they have had children and nieces and nephews I have not met. Now, a couple of them have come around and they've said, yeah, that was really stupid. And yeah, during his 4 years, my portfolio actually did really well and my 401k grew and all this other stuff. Some of them have come around. But there was a 2 or 3 year period where I had family members that would not talk to me, and they're not members of the church. I had a great relationship with the poor. It was political. And I don't want that to happen. Like, I do believe in, as the hymn says, practicing the healer's art. And sometimes you have to be strong and tough love about it. But other times you have to be kind. And I do think the fastest way of us achieving that unity that I want us to have all as Americans is going to be kind of pulling a Lincoln at this moment. Like, he forgave the South. And when he forgave the South, which he had all the right to destroy the South, but when he forgave the South, as much as some people think that was a strategic error, we got something out of it. It unified us as a country in less than a 10-year period, and we quickly started calling ourselves Americans for the first time. And it birthed what many people consider the American Empire. We probably could not have defeated the Spanish in the 1898 Spanish-American War only, 2 decades later, without the, yes, technological advancements, but also the social advancements of being a unified country. And we weren't unified because the North came down and burned the South. Yes, there were war atrocities committed by some generals in some marches towards some cities. All right, we're not negating that. But like, I think the act of forgiving the South helped the healing go faster. And if that's what you're in the game of, that might be kind of something we consider now. So anyway.
Pardon, can I interject here real quick?
Yes, hit it.
I'm going to doomsday again here just for a second.
Oh, this is why I invited you.
I'm listening to everybody talk, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to transport myself to 2016 because that's what I feel like I'm living in right now, right? We're going to 2016. Trump beat the first absolute positive for certain woman president, right? And all of this discussion, every single point I've heard was the same exact points that were happening in 2016. Identity politics is over. This is all done. Everything's wonderful. Woke is broke. And then it went off the rails after that, right? So I'm just saying, for me, truth is found in patterns. And I'm going through this. This is the same cycle. I don't think that there is wow, we are dominant now, and now we need to forgive the losers. I think that it is simply a battle that has been won, and going beyond that, right? This is the same. This is 2016. It's 2016.
Now I know
except the media is weak and we have Elon Musk. It's a big difference.
That's a really big difference. The change in Twitter, I think, is huge.
Yep, 100%.
And this is what I was going to say, Greg. Here's my measurable quantifiers. Like, this is such a good experience for me. Now I know what all of these counselors have felt like as those people are sitting in the couch and they're like, venting what they're disliking. And now I can just give advice, and I'm going to write notes. So like, Greg Mattson, doomsdaying woke. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the measurable quantifiers, Greg. The founding fathers said there were 4 branches of government. There was the executive, the legislative, the judicial, right? But then Benjamin Franklin very wisely said the media is the fourth estate. It is the fourth branch of government. The reason why I voted for Donald Trump in 2016 was because when everybody came out disposition-wise, I was actually kind of a Marco Rubio, a John Kasich guy. Those dudes had the disposition that I would want in a president. But when I looked out on that debate stage full of 23 people, as much as I was a Rand Paul guy and I was a libertarian dude at that time, I told my wife, Brittany, I said, there's only one guy on that stage that can go up against the fourth branch of government, and that's Donald Trump. Sure. And he broke.
Pardon. Let's follow that up really quickly with the biggest super chat we've ever received.
Oh, what?
Do you want to take a look at that really quick?
Holy crap. Okay, yes. Let me finish my thought, and then I'll go to this.
Hoffman. Okay.
I'll go to that super chat.
Wow. That is the biggest.
Tell me, I can't see. Work with me here.
Okay. Actually, Ethan, can you be the keeper of the chats? Brittany had to go pick up the kids from activity days really fast.
I've been keeping them in a notepad, and there is actually quite a lot.
Okay, then we're going to catch up on those in a second, and we're going to let everybody answer one of the super chats. But I was just going to say this, Greg. Donald Trump proved, like, he broke the stranglehold that the media had on America's thought process.
Absolutely.
Okay, he broke it. And they fought back. The Empire struck back. Okay, there was a sequel in which Darth Vader won. Okay, but finally in Return of the Jedi, he comes back, and there's measurable quantifiers, man. CNN Plus failed because the left can't meme and they can't do the internet. The finger waggers, the woke scolds, they don't do funny, they don't do youth, they don't do cool. And so, yeah, the professor who's made his bones and has a 25-year tenure teaching gender studies, yeah, he's probably not giving up his love of abortion anytime soon. And he's probably not going to stop giving D's to the capitalist in class who quotes Ayn Rand. But he is disempowered and no longer aided and abetted by a legacy media that has a stranglehold on the conversation. Now there's Greg Madsen's. Now there's Daily Wires. There's Luke's doing Ward Radio News. There's we have this year almost 7 million views and an average watch time of sometimes 15, 20, 25 minutes. All right. Think how much time just Ward Radio has taken from woke KSL. Think about that. Like, these are measurable quantifiers that show not just the decline, but in my opinion, the death of the expert political talking head media class. People's just not listening to them. Yeah, severely diminished. And so that's the big takeaway for me that should give you hope. So, Greg, do you have hope, or do I need to prescribe?
I always have hope. Look, I've always got hope, and
we believe all things. Day. Come on.
It's a wonderful day. I've celebrated all day. I just want to make sure that people understand that there is an adversary to all of this, and it's not going to go away.
Yes, but just celebrate today, Greg. Get excited. It's a good day.
Greg, I'm going to go over to your house.
And we can start that celebration with this super chat.
Okay, yes. Hit it. Ethan, go. Catch us up on super chats, bro. Catch us up top to bottom. Go.
Okay, so Fred Hoffman. Let's start with you, because holy crap. He says, boom, bring on the peace. Let's celebrate unification. Here's a little something to get it started.
Wow.
And he just dropped
Whoa!
Way to go.
Whoa!
Wow.
I need to follow him on Twitter if I don't already.
Yeah,
jeez, Fred Hoffman.
For Fred.
Jeez Louise.
Wow.
Okay, this live stream is brought to you by Fred Hoffman.
Way to go,
good man. And I love the energy, Fred. Like, bring on the peace. Let's celebrate unification. This is the energy that I want for us to have moving forward, right? Like, because, Greg, I hear what you're saying, where you are hearing a little bit of like, hey, let's not get complacent about things, feeling like, hey, we've won. Now let's just rest.
I think Greg has a little bit of PTSD, and we all do. It's just Greg's leaning into it a little harder.
Guys, do we need a group hug, Greg? Do we need a group hug, Greg?
I'll hug the heck out of you, Greg.
I feel a little bit similar to how Greg is, maybe in a different way, because I just personally have a little bit of a distrust of both political parties at this point. I'm kind of
but we've got Ron Paul, Brad. We have Ron Paul.
That's fair. That's a good
and
point,
RFK
actually.
Jr.
I know. I guess having RFK and
Like,
Ron
come
Paul
on.
on the
Our
same
party,
team
our
is
party
kind
just
of
opened its.
extreme.
Our tent just got a lot bigger.
It really did. And,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing is like, I hope people can recognize that they can, rather than looking at this from like oh no,
Yeah.
like I've heard all these bad things about Donald
Our arms
Trump.
are open. Our arms are
Yeah.
open. Come on in.
Look at
The
who's
water's fine.
look at who's jumping on his
Yep.
team. This is a very
Right.
big tent for
Big tent.
helping America.
That's
So
it.
yeah, I think that's a good, hopeful way to look at things.
Okay,
I
so
love you, Greg. I'm not trying to pick on you. You're awesome.
No, that's fine. I understand. I don't want to be a doomsdayer. I just want to say that we should. You want to stand back. You want to step back and look at the cycles, look what's going on, and understand. If we're aware of that, then we can approach it in the right way. Right? You can approach it in the right way if you're aware of the cycles and how this happens, how it works.
okay, speaking of approaching it in the right way, just on my Twitter feed just came up the best of leftist Trump victory meltdowns. And I'm giving it 24 hours. I'm giving it 24 hours. I'm not doing it. We're keeping it classy. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm practicing what I preach, and I am not playing the supercut that is 2 minutes and 29 seconds long of leftist meltdowns in front of me.
There were so many things I wanted to send you today, knowing I was coming on. I just held my tongue.
Would it
Okay.
help if I broke it up by trying to speed through the remaining super chats?
Yes, burn through the
Please.
super chats really fast. Thank you.
All right. Oldest, we got Polly Nikes. He said, question 1, Cardin, which generation of sociopaths has been replaced as the most valuable voting bloc by Gen Xers during this recent election cycle?
Get back off of my stripling boomers. Back off of my stripling boomers. They're good people.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you could probably say that about like millennials or Gen Z too, but that's
Gen X is in charge. We are the adults now. So
Wow.
I'm
I don't know if
sorry,
that's a
but
good
that's the way
thing
it
or a
is.
bad thing.
Not
But
to
Greg
mention that Trump
Mattson's in
is a
charge.
baby boomer.
He's Gen X. Greg Mattson, he's Gen X. So we're in good
Yep.
hands, dude.
Gen X, here we are.
All right, next
We are in
one.
charge.
Next
That's
one.
the generation right here.
And look at
Joseph,
this unity. Cardin speaking well of boomers. This is great.
Yeah. Joseph Falahy said Trump will sound before the great and terrible day. And he has many times talking all about how he's going to build a wall. We've got the compilation channel who said slightly off topic, but keep an eye out for a new Netflix show called American Primeval coming out in January about Brigham Young and the Nauvoo Legion. Guaranteed to bash the church, unfortunately. I did see something about that.
It could have made it so awesome. That's too bad.
It did
Is it
look
like
like
a
it could have been.
documentary, or is it a
No,
dramatization?
it's like you know how like Netflix
It's a
will make
Western.
like super like violent shows, at least for my taste, super violent sometimes. Yeah, it's like a they describe it as a violent like gritty Western about Brigham Young and the early Mormon pioneers.
I bet they accidentally make him look awesome, even though if they're trying
They
to bash him.
probably will. They
That's
lean
the best
into it.
possible outcome.
Just be
just-
like,
they
you
just-
guys are so lame. He was just awesome.
I had a little bit of hope for this one, but then I heard that Lindsay Hansen Park was a historical consultant on it, just like Under the Banner of Heaven, which I don't feel like did a great job of that. So,
Dude,
Rough.
secularists
I think,
cannot.
Ben, you've said the best possible outcome.
Dude, secularists,
fingers
it's so
crossed for that.
hilarious watching anti-religious secularists try and make a movie about a religious movie. They fail every time.
P.T. Barnum said it when he said there's no such thing as bad publicity. All it does is just make us bigger and stronger. Go for it.
Sure,
Bring it.
whatever. But like at some point, I want to watch a cool movie about us. But
I
whatever.
want Quentin Tarantino to pick up the story of Orrin Porter Rockwell, blessed by a prophet and is invincible. That would be the coolest movie imaginable.
Okay, well, be careful what you ask for, because I have a stuntman with 12 stunt friends who is a direct descendant of Stephen Markham, who was the other Porter Rockwell that was a bodyguard.
Do you know
of
how
Joseph
awesome
Smith.
that would be? He's blessed by a prophet to make him invincible.
We're writing it.
And he becomes this.
We're writing
Awesome.
it. Sorry, bro.
Okay,
I
don't know why
have
you
the
didn't talk to me about
descendant
this.
of Porter Rockwell's buddy That's a.
I don't know. I'm orange. I'm gonna do the Trump thing. I don't know why you haven't talked to me about it.
Yeah, it's just you're supposed to say it's gonna be huge. There's gonna be
Huge.
so much guns, so much violence, so much slaughter. You'll get tired of slaughter. You'll feel like it's the U.S. Army doing the killing. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like
Just it'll be awesome.
Okay.
We'll just like everything else. We'll plow through.
okay. Next super chats. Burn through the super
All right.
chats.
Yes. Polly Nikes again said fees for the patriarchy and stables, obviously. Stripling Boomer said we need more men like Dr. Manhatva.
Thank you.
Okay.
Polly Nikes then said, in the spirit of continuing the red wave all week long into the Holy War, I'm confident to support my alma mater and OG School of the Prophets. Go Utes. We've got Elder
Yeah,
E,
because the
and
Utes are notoriously religious. Between the University of Utah and BYU, yeah, it's the Utes that are going to go to a holy war. Okay, cool.
Well, you know, when that's your religion, that's what it becomes.
Okay.
Anyways, Elder E just donated at $5, but didn't add anything. Oh wait, actually he did add something. It looks like it says super off topic, but what part of Canada is Brad from? I have family in Cardston. Any advice for me while I wait for my mission call?
Oh, Brad. Oh,
I wonder if Brad went to the bathroom or something.
Did B-Rad dip? Yeah,
oh,
Lee did.
oh, he's
Uh,
muted. No, there he is. There he is. Sorry.
I'm back.
Did you
Here,
hear that last question for you?
Yeah. So, my family, the Whitbecks, they're chilling in the Raymond area, and then my mom's side is in McGrath, Spring Coulee area, if you know where that is. I actually have an uncle in Cardston. It's a great place. And then he was saying something about mission. What was
Yeah.
that? Any advice for me while I
Yeah.
wait for my mission call? This is going to sound weird. Best advice I can think of for a missionary who's waiting for their mission call is to go to maybe Lethbridge and go onto like Main Street and then go run into people and try to make eye contact with and give a sincere compliment to each person you pass.
I love you, Brad.
That is actually fantastic advice, especially if you're more introverted to begin with.
Absolutely. I think it would do a very good setup for you to get used to talking to people on your mission. It'll help you start naturally looking for good things in other people. Because I think as a missionary, key thing you're there to do is to love people, uplift them, meet them where they're at, and help bring them closer to God. And I think that would be an amazing way to get started with it. That was actually a Canadian mission prep teacher of mine at BYU. Elder Livingstone. It was Livingstone. It was pronounced stone. And he gave us that assignment in our mission prep class, and I think it made a huge difference for me.
Okay, 5 more super chats. The first 2 answers
right.
get to go to Jacob because he just showed up. And then I've got my heinous theory that I've been holding on to about a realignment politically with the Mormon church. So we'll dive into that. So 2 super chats, and then Jacob, because he's a little bit late to the party. Prima donna, always showing up on his own schedule. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding with Jacob. We'll have Jacob answer the next 2 super chats. Hit us, Ethan. Go.
I think so. Fidget the Crazy says some of my friends are on Tumblr, and there's been a lot of truly deluded thinking towards their reproductive rights. Some are even threatening self-deleting over it. It's tragic. Clint Orris says, let's all just take a moment to be grateful that we're not Canadians with a leader like Justin Trudeau or the Brits with Starmer.
Big.
And then,
Dude, I home teach some big time lefties. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are Canadian, actually. And so just 2 days ago, we had like a break the fast, and there was all these ladies that are my wife's friends around, and I'm fine with these girls. I love them. We've gone head to head in political discussions before. You know what I'm saying? I love these girls. They're awesome. But one of them had not heard the Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son thing. So I'm actually making a framed picture of Fidel Castro and Justin
Best
Trudeau.
conspiracy theory.
And I am
Best
conspiracy fact.
theory.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
I will
Justin
sneak
Trudeau's
into their
father is
house to
Fidel
put it on the
Castro.
wall.
Yes, it's not a theory.
Yeah, that's funny. I heard the timelines don't actually match up by 4 years.
That's
they're
what they
off. They're
say.
off. No, they're
They
off
tell
by
you.
45 days.
Ah.
So it's close enough.
Okay,
That's
close.
a pretty good margin of error.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one. Keep hitting it.
All right. Celestial Knight says, quick super chat before work. Enjoy all your guys. True Dat says, nice and kind are not synonymous. Anvil DIY, just a quick request. Can y'all have Travis Anderson on from Missionary Discussions? And then Fog Defense says, Cardin, is that A&W root beer or cream soda? I say it's cream soda. The daughters say it's root beer.
Okay, this is actually my favorite beverage as of late. It is A&W zero sugar and also no caffeine root beer. Does not taste bad. It's pretty good. I like
Are
it.
you a communist? No sugar?
No. This one's so good, Jacob.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. This one, it's actually better than the version with sugar. I don't know how they managed it. This is like the only soda that's true for.
You guys have been
It's
brainwashed by
amazing.
RFK.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all those chemicals that RFK wants to ban.
I don't want him in the tent.
That's funny. No, RFK, I got to tell you, Donald Trump's tent is crazy.
Yeah.
Elon Musk was pissing people off by declaring on Twitter only 3 years ago that he was a socialist. Tulsi Gabbard was a registered Democrat from Hawaii who was running against Donald Trump. Less than what, like 5 or 6 years ago? Okay. RFK is literally a Kennedy. You know, I mean, this is absolutely nuts. The realignment.
It's like the Avengers. Yeah, none of them like each other, but they all team up.
Okay, so maybe
And
I'll
they,
just
you know,
dive
have
into
each
this
other's
right
back.
now. Maybe I'll just dive into the stats right now, so we're not just spouting.
Wait, do we need to finish the super
What about
chats though?
we got super chats and Jacob?
Okay, yeah, fine. I thought we finished the super chats, and then I was going to toss to
There's
Jacob.
Dude,
since
that's
been
rolling.
several more. There's
Okay.
actually been so many super chats coming
Hit
in.
it. Just
Knock
burn
them
through
out.
them really
Go.
fast. Knock
Go.
them out.
All right. One from Gregory Dew, $20. Thank you. Truth from Earth says, people wonder why candidates stink because we don't have a republic anymore. It was dismantled via the 12th Amendment, which installed first past the post, which gave us the two-party system. George Washington says, beware of party.
Okay.
That is true. He did say that.
Absolutely. That's my biggest thing. Guys, I'm going to be honest. My biggest hope for this election was that both parties would just break and that I wouldn't have to deal with the two-party system anymore, undermining our system of checks and balances. But hey, this was not a bad outcome. I hope this big tent thing we're talking about turns out well. And this
A
is
third
good.
party
So,
might still sprout out of this, though.
maybe.
Andrew
I
Yang
could go
could have
for
done
4.
it.
We will always be a two-party state
Always,
because of the way
always.
that it's the.
As long as we're
It's
just like
a
no,
tug,
it,
it's a
it's
tug
like
of
it
war.
literally can't happen because of the way
Literally.
that the election systems are set up.
because
If
of
they
first
change
past
the
the post stuff.
yeah, first past the post, it's just
It's
anyone-
a rope, and there's one person on each side, and it's who can pull the hardest. There's
Yep.
only 2 possible pulls.
that's a
It's
whole
very
subject
two-dimensional.
unto itself. But when you
Yeah.
actually study out why do we have a two-party system, and you actually understand the details of it, you go, oh,
Yeah.
okay, now I see why, and it won't ever change.
It's like the war.
Well,
in
you
Europe.
can disagree with
It
George
is. I'm
Washington
with
all
Greg.
you want, Jacob.
George
Greg.
Washington wasn't the
There's only two
political
directions.
scientist in the group. I'll just say that he was a great guy, but
No,
he wasn't
I-
the political scientist. That
There's
And
the
no way of
multi-party
knowing that,
systems,
dude.
multi-party systems are worse because they give more credence to small groups. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, the Nazi
It's like-
party
it's
in
ranked-
your group, you have
it's
to
ranked
recruit
ballot
the
voting.
Nazi
Don't tell me
party
this
to
is
get
how
elected.
Hitler got
It's
elected.
ranked ballot voting,
Don't
and
go
it only
telling me
brings
this is-
leftism. Yep.
Don't tell me
Ranked-
this is how
ranked
Hitler
choice
got
voting.
elected. I am down to just follow George Washington blindly on this.
That's funny. All right, so who's going?
Super chat.
Do these super chats,
All right,
my man.
super chats. Pauly Nikes. Trump could have the best team of rivals in cabinet positions since Lincoln. Yang is housing, RFK as HHS, Pompeo for state, and Ron Paul for treasury. Nathan Cottrell says, first time on a live stream. I would love it if y'all could shout out my mom. Her name is Marnie. She introduced me to Ward Radio. It changed my life. Cardin, do
Yeah,
you want to?
Marnie.
Yeah.
Go Marnie.
Yeah, Marnie, rock on. Here's your shout out. I don't know a thing about you other than you recommended us. Therefore, you are good as gold in my book. So there's your shout out. Hopefully that
I'm just going to
suffices.
put a W for Marnie in the chat.
Yeah, W for Marnie in the
winning
chat.
or something.
Okay.
Truth from Earth says, I wish people would participate in the caucus system, Utah and wherever, like the prophets urged us to. I actually got to meet and vet candidates. That's true. I was able to do that as well. And then SoCal Saint says, I kind of agree with Greg. I don't think it's over. It's been too quiet. The adversary isn't going down without some turmoil.
When I get some time, don't worry, Greg. I'll be coming to your aid here. You're not going to be all alone in your cautious optimism.
You're always welcome on my island, Jacob. Always.
This is so fun. This is so fun. Keep going.
All right. Kyle, who renewed his membership, says, what does any of this have to do with a bucket of cream?
That's true.
I'm glad he asked. So going back to Thomas B. Marsh and the way that he was such a beta. No,
Brad, you talk about a weaver. You are a weaver, man.
President Trump would be proud of you.
All right, next two.
Next, Fogg says, daughters are calling you a liar, that it is good. And then Josiah Flynn says, liberals in the church, quote, we're so compassionate, just ask us. The rest of us, hard eye roll, lol, get wrecked. Okay, and that's all of them.
Okay. So that was the not nice one that slipped in, but we let it through. That's funny. So
You have to pay to be not nice in the first 24 hours.
Now we're just going to go over some stats really fast here. Okay, we're just going to
Wait, did we miss the truth from the Earth one? The Constitution originally used a form of approval voting.
I have
we
no
did.
idea what you're talking
We
about.
did.
Okay,
I want Jacob. What about Jacob?
Okay, this is just really fast, and then Jacob. So Truth from Earth said that the Constitution originally used the form of approval voting, and actually first past the post lends to tyranny of minorities because it is prone to the spoiler effect. And I think they're objectively correct, and we can move on.
Wow, I'm glad you're Canadian and can't vote. No, I'm just kidding.
I can. I'm naturalized.
That's funny. Take that, huh? So, well, and you've got anchor babies, bro. Psh, we can't get rid of you, man.
I have been a citizen since long before my anchor babies.
No.
Okay,
Until
But
you
Brad
stop
can never
saying,
run for president.
Hey, Brad,
Can't run
I'm
for
sorry.
president.
You just can't run
Hooray
for
for the
president.
Constitution.
yet.
until
Guys,
you,
have I told you my story about that?
Brad,
I was
your
in
hair looks
kindergarten
like
when I
you're
learned that. It was
naturalized.
so sad. Greg, what does that mean?
until Brad, you're not un-Canadian until you stop saying sorry. When you stop
Sorry.
saying sorry, that's when you're un-Canadian.
It's not my fault I didn't hear a single American apologize for the first 15 years of my life. My parents said sorry in the house all the time because they're
Sorry.
Canadian. And then when I heard an American
Wait,
say
you
it, I
never
was
heard an American say, I feel sorry for you?
like, no, never once, Luke.
Boom.
Guys,
I didn't hear that as often as a kid as you did, I guess. But
look, Canada is my favorite national park, so I think all of the
Yeah.
indigenous people of the national park system
And you're
should
doing a
have.
great job as America's hat.
Yeah, America's hat.
that's right.
Very stylish.
That's right, man.
Thank
the best
you,
hat.
Brad, for being so good natured.
I love
and
you,
just
Brad.
letting us
I love
heap
you
on
guys
you.
too.
So,
Guys, this is Canada's place. Oh, and we missed gifted memberships, by the way. we
hit
had,
him, cover him, do it.
I don't know if I can see them, but True Dat gifted 5 memberships and Mary Lou Howarth gifted 10. I don't see the specific names, but if we can get a 15XW in the chat, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I just did it right here. 15XW. Okay, so
And
Jacob.
welcome to the Ward Radio Wigwam.
Yes, thank you, Brad. Now, Jacob, here's your chance, bro. Say your piece as you're coming in here, what you thought about this whole thing, and then I'm going to start throwing up some stats. The next couple
All
of
right,
minutes,
I'll be quick here. So, a couple things just to hit on. First of all, saying that we're coming out of the Pride cycle and that this is a whole new era, I'm a little more cautious on that. Okay. First of all, I don't believe presidents change things that much. I remember last election, it was like, this is going to be the last election ever, and Joe Biden's going to bring down the country. And in 2016, he's going to destroy. My whole life, I have listened to every election. This is the most important election ever. And if we win or lose, it's all going to go great or terrible. And guess what happens? 4 years go by and life is basically the same. And the things that really matter most are the things in your own personal life. What happens in the White House is not nearly as important as what happens in your house. So I just want to, I don't want to deflate the balloon. It is awesome. I'm really excited about it. But just what we have really is an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to make some good things happen. And now it's more like, all right, we gave you the keys, Don. Like, let's see what you do with it. And I'm hopeful and prayerful that he and the team that he's assembled will be able to do something good with it. And I think it's fine to be excited and celebrate. With that in mind, to Brad's point, and people would think that I'm going to be the first one to be playing the crying videos, and I was watching those and they are hilarious. But there was a side to me that went, you know what? These people are sincerely, like those aren't like fake tears. These people are literally freaking out. They believed the media. Like there are people out there who still think that what they say on CNN is actually true. And so they think we just elected Adolf Hitler. They think that this is going to be the last election ever. Okay? We have friends out there who are delusional. Okay? And when someone is delusional, I feel bad for them. And I think very much the attitude here is, hey guys, hold on a second. What if this doesn't turn out to be as bad as you think? Which it won't.
I wouldn't even say that they're delusional so much as we have just got a very siloed set of reality set up in our country, not because of a fault of anyone who believes these things, but because that's the way our media is enforcing things. And when you say delusional, it sounds like a fault of the person when I think it's a fault of our system.
Well, and people who don't do, that kind of just grab what the media throws at them uncritically, this is where it leads you. Now, one last thing, this is my last point, is woke broke, okay? So I do think that something has fundamentally shifted politically, okay? And I think the data is going to show this. I think what we've seen is that going woke, you aren't going to win Hispanic men. Donald Trump won the Hispanic male vote, okay? When you're going around talking about transing the kids, I'm sorry, Jorge down on the construction site is not cool with that, okay? And
why did you say Jorge down at the construction site? What do you think about?
That?
I see. Oh, so are they all named Jorge? Do they all work in construction?
I actually worked with a guy named Jorge. He was great. He was one of my favorite guys that I worked with in the plumbing company. Anyway, so the issue is this: is that the wokeism isn't going anywhere. As Greg said, it's a religion, but they're gonna have to think really hard about how they sell it. If they don't politically morph the woke sort of messaging and way that they go about sort of getting woke ideology out there, they're gonna lose politically. And so I'm very curious to see where the left turns from here. And I hope and pray that the ideologues really get out there, get totally inflexible, and destroy the Democrat Party. That's what I hope.
Okay, I've got your answer, and this is where Greg, you might like this. At least the doomsdayer part of you may this may be a balm of Gilead, all right, for the doomsdayer half of you. They already have shifted. Did you hear Kamala Harris's concession speech? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
You will notice in peak woke 2012, 2014, 2016, the Democrat Party actually had an audible vote on whether or not they should include or not include and invoke or not invoke the name of God.
Yep.
Pledge of allegiance.
Yet, name of God, pledge of allegiance. Yet Kamala Harris, all of a sudden, is all about the Constitution and is all about God. The Democrats have found Jesus, and Texas shifted less blue with all of the California move outs into Texas, then New York switched red. And I'm going to start putting some stats on the screens here so people can start looking at this. This is the red shift that happened all over the United States of America. The data is in and it is incredible, but there's one map here that I want to pull up. You'll notice everywhere it shifted really, really, really red, except for some northern suburbs of North Carolina and Georgia. And then right here, boom shakalaka, in Utah. Utah shifted hard blue. In fact, Ethan Fawcett has made it bigger. Yep. I got to tell you, I think there's going to be a new realignment, just like Latino men. Like I've called it, and I've said this for a year on this podcast. I've said it's the rise of the American Latina. That woke's jet fuel are the awfuls, the affluent white female ultra liberals that live a conservative, wealthy woman's life by day, but then blog like they're an oppressed minority by night. And without their efforts and their money, woke and Antifa and all of the above wouldn't have the time, the energy, or the money in order to thrive. And California has exported all of those. The most patriotic thing I ever did was July 4th at the Rose Bowl with LA Football Club versus the LA Galaxy, two sports franchises that would not have existed in their capacity and their largeness now without that Latino influence. And all the Democrats banked on all of the illegal immigration and the Latino immigration coming in as this perpetual minority. But what they didn't bank on was those kids. They're going to grow up and they're going to want a slice of the pie too. And
suddenly they're against immigration and illegal immigration. You're going to see the Democrats flip real quick. All of a sudden, if all those Hispanic men are voting for Trump, they're going to seal that border off faster than you can believe.
I welcome our Latino brethren. They're like the new Italians, okay? Coming in from Ellis Island. Yeah. Let's see how this turns out for you guys.
Like, okay. Yeah. So well, let me finish my theory.
Go ahead.
No, Brad, I talk too much. You go, Brad, and then I'll finish my theory. Say what you got, Brad.
I was just going to say, it's not like either party really has a solid solution for the immigration problem anyway, right? Speaking as an immigrant who's gone through the process, like the Democrats are crazy about the way that they're trying to handle it. The Republicans, they're a little less crazy about the way that they're trying to handle it, but like, I mean, unless you take them at their word on like deport literally everyone.
I could solve that problem in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go really, 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 really hard on employers that hire illegal immigrants, and all of a sudden you will not be able to get work in the United States unless you're a legal citizen. And literally everyone who is not a legal citizen would leave.
Yeah, it's a digital
and no one would come here. They all come here to get work. And if you just know it's absolutely impossible to get work in the United States because no employer will touch you because there's a $50,000 per person fine on your first offense if you have anyone illegal that is working for you. But the Republicans actually won't do that either because they also enjoy the labor.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is look at this map. I got it on the screen. One of the only places that shifted hard for the Democrats was Utah. And it's because woke leverages your kindness against you. And it's
weaponized empathy.
It's weaponized. It is
weaponized empathy, and the left knows how to trigger it in empathetic, good, decent people. And that is why you see things going blue.
Yeah, well, look at this map.
8 years, guys. 8 years, Utah will go blue.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
I'm claiming it right now. 8 years, Utah goes blue.
Is it
unless we do something? Yeah.
Or is it, Cardin, sorry to say it, but all of your neighbors moving here?
No, that's not what it is.
No, I think those are the conservatives.
You think it's
middle to upper class white women on the East Bench. That's what it is.
That's where I live.
All the way up to Davis County. You can go all the way down to Spanish Fork, and you're going to have the same exact thing.
Yep. Greg, I live in the Avenues.
They are driving it.
I live in the Avenues.
Driving it with their families. They're driving it with their husbands.
So you think it's more of a worldview shift among Utah Mormons than it is
Brad.
influx of
Absolutely.
Californians
It's a
Absolutely.
testosterone
It's both.
problem.
It's both, but it's internal first.
I've got some
It's
data.
literally a testosterone problem.
Okay, so
I've
hold
got
on,
some
guys.
data
Hold
here.
on. Let's let Greg finish, and then Luke, you bring up
Sorry,
your
Greg.
data, and then Ben can tell us all how we need to lift weights and take low T tabs.
Yeah, I'm just saying the white women that are in middle to upper class. This is where they are the primary targets of wokeness. If you're not in academia, it is the white middle to upper class women, and they are now in a position where you could, I mean, quite frankly, if you go to Scripture, you can read Isaiah. It talks all about this, and they will run everything. They will run it. They will run it from within their families. They'll run it from their businesses. They'll run it from the government positions that they hold. This is where it's going to come from.
So one quick thing on this, Luke, and I swear I'll turn it to you. You made a bold prediction there, Greg. You said in 8 years. Here's my
Well, I did, but he stole my thunder.
Well,
I was
real
going to
quick,
make it.
I don't think how much of this though is a Mitt Romney phenomena. Okay, Mitt Romney, like Latter-day Saints who weren't political, all of a sudden in 2012 became like big political people that were really into it. And Romney, there are people that just they love Mitt Romney just because he's a Latter-day Saint and he was famous, and they're so in bed with him, it's just weird. And all of those people right now have Trump derangement syndrome. Remember, Trump eventually goes away. So what I actually think those who have bad TDS, if they don't go fully off the rails and become like socialist Democrats, I think those people will eventually come around and be back to being Republicans again once the Romney Trump thing sort of is in our rearview mirror.
Here's what I would say though, Jacob. I mean, I've got a lot of these friends, right? I've got a lot of Gen Xers. I've got a lot of Boomer friends. I know all these people. I know these people that are voting for Kamala, right? Some of it is just anti-Trump stuff. But you notice if you follow their social media, you go through and you see what they're doing, all of a sudden they're turning on abortion, right? They're turning on abortion. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, this kind of, and what happens is your new silo that you have produced for your feedback, right, on all of your information is now completely different from where you were before, and you are sympathizing with a different group of people.
Romney and TDS opened the door that allowed in all the other crap, and
Absolutely.
I think now the other crap is taking over.
Are you guys familiar with Jeffrey Thane's work on
brilliant
the way on worldviews and how they shift? I think it has more to do with that and our general media than it has to do with Mitt Romney specifically, because I think that it's more of a cultural thing that is uniquely hitting people in Utah, but I think it's got more to do with that worldview shift than Romney.
Can I tell you my actual experience over the past almost half century?
Hit it.
Living in the Avenues. I grew up, the Avenues was the greatest place in the world. I think Cardin was there briefly. We had a conversation about it. Beautiful view overlooking the temple. My house is pointed right at the temple. I can see things Moroni go up, the lights. I can see downtown. It's 5 minutes from the city. Growing up, I bet 9 out of 10 families were Latter-day Saints. And then the University of Utah decided they're only going to be hiring people with, I don't know, use whatever vernacular you would like, but from diverse viewpoints, which means anything but, regular Latter-day Saint person. And one by one, as the people would age out, they'd sell their house, their kids would grow up, they'd move away, and a professor would move in, or two attorneys would move in, husband and wife, and you start seeing the signs going up. Now, I bet in my neighborhood, we've been displaced where maybe 1 in 15 people in that neighborhood are Latter-day Saints. And it didn't happen overnight, and it was like a frog being boiled. But I have to face the reality because the real estate is so expensive up there, and it's just filled with University of Utah professors and academia, and people that work over at the University Hospital, which frankly they're just kind of in the same political boat as them. It's probably gone. I'm the last man standing, and it's a rough place to be. And I'm just trying to telegraph to you guys a word of warning. We need to be hospitable, and we need to be loving. We need to love our neighbor, whatever their situation is. I don't care what color, creed, sexual preference they have. We love them, but we also have to just not be embarrassed about who we are. It seems as though we've kind of shirked and we've kind of shrunk back and we've kind of just said, I'd rather have peace than, you know, any opposition. And I think that they feel like they can just steamroll. They can just run you right down, and they've been successful because we are so hesitant to speak truth. And I think
I totally agree.
So
I think what you're saying with the I like the way that President Nelson put it, that like we need to be pursuing peace and be peacemakers, but we should not be pursuing peace at any price, right?
Correct.
We don't need to give
Absolutely.
up on our convictions. I think if we are finding places that we agree with one another and building relationships from there and not escalating disagreements and seeking points of argument, that's how we be peacemakers, right?
Yeah.
We try to build relationships with people, and then we can go ahead.
So I bought a house in Florida during COVID because it had enough. And I'm like, I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to go to Disney World, and it was totally empty. I had to wear a stupid mask, but it was walk-ons every single ride with my kids. One of the most fun experiences of my life. I'm like, I'm just going to buy a house here. Well, I bought a house there, and sometimes I go to the beach, and Floridians are unapologetic for being right-wing. They drive trucks up and down the beach with all sort of expletives about, I'm not saying do this, but blank Biden, Trump flags everywhere. I mean, if they drove through the avenues, I think that 911 would have been called about 25 times before they even, got to the end of the street. So it's I'm not saying we need to be Florida, but I'm saying that we got to have a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? I almost said pride, but just have a little bit of testicular fortitude.
There you go.
Well, look,
Okay.
just
Lift
because
some
you come
weights.
from you come from a weak society that ceded ground to those that hate us doesn't mean that the rest of the nation struggles with this.
We carved out of the desert one of the most beautiful cities on the whole planet,
And then
I
handed
want
it
those
over to the
people
woke
back.
scolds.
I know. It's the pride cycle, and it's like that's what God does. Is He uses your enemies to kind of come and get you. We need to not have pride, but have a little bit of testicular fortitude. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm not trying to have courage. I just got a text from one of my buddies
Yeah,
I grew up with in that neighborhood. We have to have courage. Thank you, Matt. We must have courage.
Brad.
And I think have that courage in Christ, right? And in the truth. Because my worry in this is that people will let it become about politics instead of letting it be about truth.
Yeah,
And
I agree. But at the same time, don't be ashamed of who you are. Like, we have a lot of people that are ashamed. And it really is Lehi's dream. There are people who kind of slink off into the darkness and the mist that have tasted of the fruit, and they're ashamed of the people in the great and spacious building. Stop being ashamed. Man up.
Don't be
Have
ashamed
courage.
about being involved with politics.
Yeah.
We have this kind of weird culture where if you're really into football or something, like BYU football, it's like, oh, he's really into BYU football. He spends hours watching it a week. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
he has a
acceptable.
hobby.
Yeah.
And then if you spend time talking about politics, it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? Don't you love the church? Why do you have another God? It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
dude.
Exactly.
Sorry that I'm interested in something.
I'm sorry I'm
important to my
concerned
life.
about
Like, oh my
the
gosh.
direction of civilization. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that
I guess I'll just go binge watch Game of Thrones instead, so you get off
Exactly.
my back. Like,
I'm going to go back to watching, teenagers play sports.
Yeah.
Okay, Luke,
Yeah.
give us your stats, man. Give us your
Yes.
stats.
Okay. So. If you could pull up what is your present religion, if any, in the Discord.
Okay.
It's the first one after I started posting some stats there.
Okay.
I hear this leftward shift in Utah, and it's concerning looking at that map and seeing a leftward shift in Utah while everything else went right. However, if you'll notice, California and New York went even more hard right than Utah went left. Does anybody think that California and New York are going Republican in 8 years or 12 years? Nobody thinks that. So just because a trend has happened over the last
Can I
decade
hope
or
it,
so. What?
saying, can I hope it though?
Yes, that's allowed. That's allowed. So just because a trend has happened over the last decade, the last 2 decades, doesn't mean it's always going to go that way.
I know,
And if
but
you
Luke,
pull up-
I just want you guys to know I've lived through this. Like, there's no
I
one
know.
that you've ever spoken to probably that has lived through really two
No, I know,
generations and watched it.
and
Like, if we're not trying, this is an absolute truth, and you can put this on my headstone. Okay, it is that the people who want to be left alone will always be defeated by the people who care. And that's kind of, we just wanted to be left alone. And the people that are intense about their political beliefs, we lose every single time. Because being just keeping to yourself and wanting to be left alone, you just have accepted loss. It's apathy, and apathy is a death. So,
Okay.
But I'm saying just because that has been happening doesn't mean that it continues to happen into the future.
No, but there's
Inertia
other
is a
signs,
thing.
though, Luke. It's not just that. It's not just the election, right? I mean, you've got culture, you've got culture, you've got people that are moving in. I only know you by Dr. Mahatma, but it's that's you've got the people moving in, and then you've got more of a monolithic culture. You've got a hive, and so as you start getting to a tipping point, eventually, that culture is going to change really fast, and that's what I'm seeing happen.
But
have I told you how we
people
can
in
fix Salt
Utah
Lake?
that are having these things happen, whether it's in church or in their neighborhood or whatever it is, constantly. It's not like some little pocket thing and, oh, look at this little blurb. It is a complete shift of culture.
Can I tell you how we save Salt Lake?
And quite frankly, when you've got, and I'm not discrediting this, I'm not criticizing this because it's not my responsibility, but you've also got messaging from the church that is not going to speak out against it. That is the strategy that they're going with, and there's no pushing against this. In the 80s, this would have never happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you've got a different messaging and a different strategy from Salt Lake that is not going to, at least right now, right? They're not going to give any shots across the bow other than a BYU speech.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Luke, go back to your stats, and then I'll spout my heinous theory, and then we'll finish up on the super chat. So Luke, finish what you were saying.
Cool. All right. So if you see the graph, and I need to pull it up by myself because I can't see it on the screen. I don't know if I would have believed this earlier, but we have what is your present religion, if any, a sample of 119,500 respondents. Very healthy sample size. Of all the religions, which one voted for Trump at the highest rate? Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
63%.
Okay. So for all this talk
we had the highest of any religion
Correct.
voting
over
for Donald Trump.
Protestants, over Protestants.
That's easy to believe.
Okay.
Because of Mitt Romney.
Thank you.
and not only that, the more impressive stat is we had the lowest vote for Kamala Harris.
Yep.
By a good chunk. We were 5% lower than Protestants and 4% lower than other Christians. I don't even know what other Christian would encompass in this, but so when we're talking about
Maybe
like
Amish.
how woke the church is going, and if only we could be like the Protestant churches that talk about this and their things, and the church office building is getting so soft on this, and we're not hearing the fire coming out. The electorate is one of the strongest still non-woke voting parties in the United States.
It's because they saw my video. That's why.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Yeah,
I've noticed.
Jacob.
I've done two shows with you, Jacob.
What was their vote for Reagan and Bush?
I'm sure it was higher. And for Romney, I'm sure it was higher.
That'd be a curious thing to look into. But Jacob, I've been in 2 chats with you, and both times you show up late, make a big grand entrance. I think you do it on purpose.
Actually, I do it because my wife needs my help with stuff, and I gotta like sneak away.
I think you're just waiting for the grand entrance. Like Jacob
I'm
has
2
arrived.
hours later in the time zone, so all my kids are asleep by the time this happens. So I can look
lucky,
like I
Luke.
have everything all put together and stuff. when the live stream happens. By the way, the church actually just put out a statement while we've been talking about this.
Hit it. What does it
The
say?
election. So it says the First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issues the following statement on Wednesday, November 6th. We congratulate President-elect Donald Trump on his election as 47th President of the United States of America. We invite all to pray for him, other elected officials, and leaders of nations around the world. Praying for those in public office is a long tradition in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Given the difficult challenges of our day, it is vital that we look to God for guidance and blessing and to seek to be peacemakers in our homes and communities. We commend Vice President Kamala Harris for her candidacy and thank her and President Joe Biden for their public service as the nation's highest levels. We wish them both well in the years ahead. May all our local, national, and world leaders be blessed with wisdom and judgment as they fulfill the great public trust afforded to them.
Good.
All right. That was boilerplate.
I love it.
You got more stats, Luke? Do you still have more to say, my man? Okay,
we can pull up the second one because within Protestants, I'm not trying to hide anything here. The white evangelical born again Christian does vote for Trump at 79%. And that's been consistent for like all three of the elections. So it's not like Latter-day Saints vote for Trump at the highest rate of any group or denomination subcategory that you can find. But in the general religious categories, we have or did vote the highest in the past election.
Okay, and then you got this other stat here with the yellow circles about very favorable, somewhat favorable. Latter-day Saints view Donald Trump as.
Yeah, this one was interesting. The top numbers, it got cut off in the screenshot, but the top one is the white evangelicals specifically. So they have a 67% favorable view of Donald Trump. Latter-day Saints actually still pull out a 48% favorable. So it's split down the middle of if you like him or not. And then the ones who don't like him, though, really don't like him. So only 11% say somewhat unfavorable, and then 40% are like the never Trumpers. So I think that's like your Romneyite category of 40% of members of the church are just like absolutely not doing this.
Okay, so Ethan and Brad, if you guys can tag team the super chats really fast, get us caught up.
Okay.
I will just finish commiserating with Greg, and I'll say, Greg, this is my thought pattern here, bro. Is that when I went to Israel, I was amazed at how many of the antiquities dealers were familiar with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They recognized Mormons, they recognized the church, and we were disproportionately represented in terms of how they enthusiastically approached us and dealt with us. And I asked one of the guys why, because, there's only 16 million of us worldwide. If half to a third to a quarter of us are really active, that's mean there's only 4 or 5 million of us floating around. And in Jerusalem, the holy city of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, that's bombarded by pilgrims and tourists from millions and millions and millions, if not billions of tourists worldwide. Like, we shouldn't be a blip on their radar in terms of just sheer numbers. And what he told me that was very interesting is he says, well, in antiquities, buying and selling antiquities, he said, I used to be able to sell a Herodian lamp to anybody because you had to know the parable of the 10 virgins. And really, it's only like Jews and Mormons and some very devout Catholics maybe in North America that are still doing the Sunday school, still saying, hey, read your scriptures, still saying, hey, be devout. I mean, it's us and Pints with Aquinas that are probably the podcasts with like Trent Horn that can actually say like what that actually means. So because our
and
culture...
the Amish if they had one.
Yeah, and the Amish if they were allowed to travel in jet-fueled electronically piloted airplanes, right? But he really said culturally you value these biblical antiquities more because you actually know even what they are. To a secularist saying, oh, I have a Herodian lamp, what's that? The parable of 10 virgins? No. that it doesn't carry any weight. There's no gravitas, right? So this is why I think there will be a brief period of time. I don't know if it's a long-term realignment, like when the industrialized South and the blacks stopped being Republicans during like the MLK and pre-MLK area and started becoming more blue and Democrat as they went to the urbanized and industrialized centers of, Chicago, Detroit, and some of those areas. I don't know if that's going to be like a 100-year shift or if it's just going to be a 10-year shift. But like Greg, I think one of the last bastions of woke will be Utah because it has an odd, unique culture in which people want to be inactive and secular enough. They want the best of both worlds. They want to be a member of the church for the goodies, but they don't actually want to have to do the work. And there's this strange Venn diagram where a lot of those people sit, where they want to be nice enough that people think they're nice and they're not outside of the social norm of niceness culture, but they don't actually want to have to pay the price for it. So we don't actually want to have to help the poor ourselves, but we sure believe in those government programs that should do it because I'm a nice person and I voted for that, And so I really think culturally, the last bastion of woke for probably 7 to 8 years, at least 2, maybe 3 election cycles, is going to be Utah. And this is the first of 3 election cycles of that realignment. Do you think I'm off my rocker or no?
I don't think you are, because wokeness appears to be designed to hijack the kind of suburban culture that seems to emanate specifically within the church. Now, you could say that maybe that's because of the source or originator of wokeness culture, and that he particularly wants to target members of the church. But you are right. Eventually, that's what it's going to get to. At least that's what I would say.
By the way, you're welcome for all the awfuls. California exports some great stuff. We also export some not so great stuff.
We've had some great Californians come here, but yeah, when they're picking out cities, they're like, that Avenues area looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you built them a studio.
I hate to interrupt, but Jacob has to go pretty soon, and we have some Jacob direct super chats that we should probably
hit it.
run.
Catch us up, my man. Catch us up.
So, starting off, Elder E says, "Where's Kwaku? Did Jacob scare him off? I miss his Alex Jones impressions. And where's Brother Barnes?" So Kwaku's with his family right now, and then Brother Barnes, I think, had mutual. He's putting his calling above this calling.
Hey, I bought his book. I was hoping he would sign it for me. So
digitally.
Oh, he'll definitely do that. Now let's see. Next up for Jacob, we have Truth from Earth says, "I'm doing a series of videos on how the electoral system got messed up. Video on the election posts tonight. Jacob nailed it on the pride thing." So,
all right.
Thank you.
You're getting some love.
Way to go,
there.
Jacob.
Well done, Jacob. And now, next up, we got Pauly Nikes. He says, Pauly Nikes 2000 says, "Jacob, multiple choice. Which group exhibits more delusional thinking between," oh, great, modern women, feminists, Democrats, woke leftists, or progmos?"
Yeah, Jacob.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just the answer.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and let me see. Question 4, Pauly Nikes 2000 again says, "Jacob, do you have any wellness check reports on some of our beloved adversaries like fake Dr. Julie Hanks, Bill Reel, John DeLynn, and Michelle Stone?"
I actually have a video I'm going to be dropping about. I've been in touch and communications with John DeLynn over the last almost year, behind the scenes, and I'm finally going to talk about what that experience was like, and it was really strange. So stay tuned on my channel for that.
Also, wait, Pauly Nikes, hold on. We do have to correct the record. I've spoken with Julie Hanks, and we had an amicable conversation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I'll get her on the show sometime soon.
Hey, if you talk to her, ask her if she remembers Day on the Green performance of the University of Utah. She opened up for me.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Oh, dude, that's cool.
I don't think she was happy about it, but it was right there at Kingsbury Hall. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know what Kingsbury Hall is, but it sounds really cool.
At the U, yeah. It was a quarter century ago. She probably has no idea.
Rock on. Well, she is not a fake doctor. She indeed did get her doctorate and takes issues with such attack. So we will correct that record, my man.
Sorry for reading it. I can't really read, so I have to like say things out loud.
Well,
Brad
sorry.
verbatim Whitbeck.
Sorry for putting you in a hard position. Sorry. So
next
Brad?
up, final Jacob one from James King says Jacob's video is a must watch.
Okay.
I think at this point
Jacob,
it's a little irrelevant,
hey,
but
Jacob, I'm proud
No.
of you, dude. If like I said on that last X live stream with Mike Lee, if we had 1,000 Jacob Hansons, we would have very few problems in the world as a church. I'm proud of you, dude.
you had to talk
keep
to
it up.
my wife would disagree. There'd be a few more problems.
Yeah, I'd be stressed out of my
But
mind.
different problems. Different problems.
Exactly.
Easier ones, maybe.
You guys, it's been awesome. I got to roll, but
Do your thing.
Take care, everybody.
Do your thing, dog. You're a stud. So next super chat's Ethan. Ethan, hit it.
Well,
or Brad.
Before Ethan, sorry. This is just, we have one for Greg specifically that I think is very important. This, in fact, is from Greg's Woke PTSD. That is the name of the account. It says, Carden, don't give me hope. My tears bring me comfort. Let me doom scroll and curse the rich white women on the East Bench and their beta hubbies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's good humor. That's good humor right there.
Well, what do you have to say about that, Greg? Do you got a little bit of trauma, bro? I do. I got a little trauma from that.
It's not trauma. It's study, and it's this is like even I had this discussion off camera with James Lindsay because he had twice I've seen him say, things are now going to go away. Two different times. Most recently in the last few months and about 2 years ago, and I'm like, look, I've studied this since 2012. I've gone over it. I've seen these cycles and patterns happen even in the last 12 years, off and on. And he's like, yeah, I suppose so. But I just think that a lot of it is when you've already been off of the train and you're standing on the side and you watch the train go by, the train's moving. If you're on the train itself, it's like the train's not moving, right? I've been off that train for 12 years, watching it and studying it, seeing where it's rooted. And look, I'm ecstatic of what happened yesterday. And I think that it's a major blow against the woke mind virus, so to speak, as Musk calls it. But it's really entrenched. It is entrenched. And so we've got to dig deeper into the institutions and into the culture to kind of pull it out.
Well, do you know what would help us all dig deeper? Cardio Miracle is a great product that helps us with our joint pain.
Promotion code quick.
Yeah, promotion code
actually,
quick.
Greg, I want to throw this one to you as well, just because you're mentioned specifically in this super chat. Geography Guy says, as Greg's guest Abraham Gileadi said, the United States is most likely Egypt that was written about in Isaiah. We're headed for real hard times. So he's kind of along the ride for the doom train.
Yeah, and again, it's not a doom train. It's there are two separate arcs to follow. The progressive arc is following the Hegelian dialectic, right? It says that we are constantly improving, and the people behind us were savages, and we're moving forward and progressing. That's what progressivism is, and we're heading toward a utopia of a new man and a new woman, right? The gospel arc the prophecy arc is the opposite, right? It says that we are going through a period here where we're going into the last days. There's going to be very tough times. There's going to be an absolute meltdown before the Christ comes and Zion is able to be brought about. And so, those are the two different worldviews, quite frankly. Those are the two different worldviews.
Greg, can we agree that we peaked in like the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, about 83.
Whoa. I've been having some Twitter conversations with people about
that feels early.
I know you weren't even born, but trust us.
That's funny. I was born in 1983, and that is so funny. It's like, is that what an Uncle Rico comment like? Was just 83 like a really good year where you got that date, bro?
That was right before the second election of Ronald Reagan. But bro, it was a time where there were no cell phones, there's no pagers.
Yeah,
people would read books, and you just got home before the night the street lights went on, and Christmas was awesome, and then maybe a Nintendo in like '86.
I feel like I brought my kids up right because they say I wish I was born in the '80s.
My kids do too. They watch Stranger Things and they're like, man, I wish I was born then. That would have been so awesome. No cell phones. No.
Okay. Hey,
no social media.
We've all waxed nostalgic. This is good here. This is good. So, super chats, my man, Brad, catch us up.
Alrighty. So, Polynikes 2000 says fees for the patriarchy and stables, obviously.
Okay, rock on.
Don't know what that was in reference to.
Oh, it's because it's the Barbie movie. Patriarchy and horses. Yeah.
Oh, the Barbie movie. Man, it's been too long.
Don't know, bro.
Now, Truth from Earth says, short story on the 12th Amendment is that there was a tie and then they blew away the nonpartisan electoral system instead. They never fixed the tie problem. That's interesting.
Okay.
I'm definitely
Aaron
interested
Burr
in looking
and
into
Thomas Jefferson. Yeah.
Aaron Burr. He's taking so much from us. Now I know. Now I find out he is responsible for political parties too. Dang it.
Pretty sure. Well, no. Political parties
because of
was
the
in the
fallout.
very first election after George Washington.
But the two-party system being because of the first past the post stuff, that's his fallout, I'll have to look into this. Now, Danny Gray says AOC just turned 35. I think 2028 will be Vance versus AOC. Also, Trump officially resigned from McDonald's. Ice cream machine is going to be broke again. Nice.
What a great day that was. That was hilarious.
Hey, can we all just say that Peanut also saved America?
You bet.
I think there's a lot of
he's the anti Harambe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
full circle.
That's good.
Yeah.
There was justice for Peanut.
Dude, have you seen the meme
It's the
floating
fourth
around?
turning, Greg.
The Peanut
I
memes are
hope so.
hilarious.
Now, Treston Meacham says, enough of this world-changing election stuff. Let's talk some CFL playoffs.
Oh, that's
Do you guys even know what that is?
8-0, bro.
I do.
Yeah, BYU's 8-0. Yeah.
Really? So they're
oh
not
my
up
gosh.
by 30 and then losing in the last 5 minutes? That was like my entire college career.
They are undefeated this entire season.
Wow.
One of like
Nice.
4 teams, yeah.
I thought he meant the Canadian Football League.
That's actually what I thought he was
That's what I
talking
thought he
about
meant.
too.
What in the world? Who would care about that?
I know.
Wait, in Canada, is football or is it soccer? I don't
It
even
is
know which
football.
one it is.
It is football, but
It's
it's
football?
slightly different football.
It's
Rugby
a round
ice football.
football.
Played on a square field.
How's that slightly different? Yeah. What kind of weird Canadian business is this?
You have to do
got
small
some-
talk with the linemen before you can tackle them.
and you have to apologize every time you
Let's say-
hit someone.
Yeah.
Physically.
Surrey.
Yeah. You have to pour maple
Turkey in
syrup
here.
over your coach when you win. And
Yes.
there is something weird about the end zone. I forget the rules because I've never watched it. But there's
I believe
something
you.
weird about the end zone being like longer and there's more going on with whatever happens there. But yeah, sports, man,
I've kind of fallen out of interest with sports too, but I'm
Yeah.
excited for BYU.
All right.
Yeah,
Pardon, I'm out.
and-
I
What'd you
gotta
say,
run.
babe? What'd you say?
I
Hey,
said there's
Greg,
way
it was
too
nice
much
meeting you, buddy.
sports,
Greg.
Greg, good
patriarchy,
seeing you, man.
testosterone going on in here.
Oh, wait. Say that again, babe. Sorry, we couldn't hear you. Greg was,
It was
signing
important.
off.
Yeah.
I said there's way too much sports, patriarchy, testosterone
And
going on in this
there
live
it is.
stream.
Yeah.
I'm here
Testosterone.
to
Thank
reel
you.
it back.
You're here
which
to just...
we're going to be getting to in just a second. Josiah Flynn says LDS Democrats love to find Jesus when they can misuse him to gaslight Republican LDS voters for having a spine. I just laugh and vote for Trump.
Oof.
Now, granted, both sides do it.
Yeah. it's
I
true.
was gonna
Both
say,
sides do it.
Both sides do it.
I want to say that just as much as I don't think that Jesus is out there with a rainbow flag around his shoulders, I also don't think he's got an American flag tattooed on his arm while holding an AR-15,
Can,
right?
can I tell you a joke, an inappropriate joke? And no, this isn't personal, and I don't believe it, but it was on Twitter, and it was funny. It said we all can agree that Jesus is not a Republican or a Democrat, but can we all agree that Satan is a Democrat?
I remember seeing that one.
I'm sorry.
I thought he
that
was a
that
globalist.
That was just a
Satan's
joke.
just actually
Don't take it
Green
real.
Party.
Don't
It's
take
like,
it seriously.
Okay.
I
Okay.
get that was funny.
And then next up, we've got. Do you want to take any, Ethan?
I've got a few here
Okay, hit it.
that might have been missed. I've lost the name on this one, but he said, "I'm curious as to y'all's thoughts on Ezra's eagle prophecy. This seems like the time of year that it comes back around in the LDS zeitgeist." Does anybody want to say anything about that?
I think it's wild and spooky, and let's see if Trump gets in.
Okay, I'm lost. Who's Ezra and why does he have an eagle?
So
we need a whole show for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super succinct. Ezra is one of the Old Testament prophets. It's a prophecy found in Ezra's eagle, which is a part of the Apocrypha, which was at one point in the Bible but has since been taken out. And so people like to study it and theorize that it predicts the presidents of the United States from was it Herbert Hoover onwards.
Basically, the eagle is mentioned just like Isaiah talks about the iron horse that breathed fire, and some people think, oh, that's locomotives. Ezra's eagle, in the book of Ezra, there's actually an eagle, and he describes the feathers, that one is long, then one is short, and there's a short one and then a long one. And if you match that up with all the presidencies from, I think it's like Calvin Coolidge or Hoover. Yeah, from Hoover.
Yeah, Herbert Hoover.
Every president that served 2 terms consecutively matches one of the long feathers, and every president that only
plus
served
FDR
one
and
term,
his 4 terms.
Yeah, plus FDR and his 4 terms. And it says basically feather number 47 won't make it to the White House before there's massive calamity, which would insinuate like worldwide destruction, assassination, kidnapping.
Well, and there's a bunch of different interpretations to it. There, theoretically, there's 3 heads that take over the final feather or something. There's a bunch of people that theorize about it on YouTube.
Either way, we sit back and we enjoy this. We have no control over it. All we do is smile and push through.
But see, that's what's really funny is then
Whatever
you get
it
these
is.
Desnat dudes on Twitter. They're like, they think they do have control. They're like, we will stop it. The Constitution will hang by a thread. But us and our 24 friends on Twitter, they will thank us generations from now.
Don't underestimate my boys on Twitter, okay?
Oh, dude.
We have
By
plenty
the
of
way,
juice.
Yeah, it's hard.
thing
It's
about
hard to
the-
underestimate them because it's so easy to over. Actually, never mind. I won't finish that.
Those are my
joke.
people.
A fun thing about the Constitution will hang by a thread quote. There is another end days sort of prophecy that Joseph Smith has, the White Horse prophecy, that's kind of dubious in its provenance, whether he really said all of that or not. But in looking into that one, I found that actually he did say the Constitution would hang by a thread an awful lot. He said that more than once, and there's that. Joseph Smith has
Wasn't
predicted
that
that.
alluding to the Civil War?
It could have been. I'd have to go back and look at the context of the things that he was saying, but I wonder if it could refer to things in the future here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last super chats, my man. We're in the last 10 minutes
Last
here.
super chats.
Last
Okay.
10 minutes right here.
Kevin Nelson says, "Love you guys, but I'm cheap." So I sent 279 Canadian. Let's see.
Well, we still love
already
you.
read that one. James King said, "Dr. Manhattan is right. It's toxic empathy." I imagine referring our conversation about why Utah is shifting left. Aaron H says, "Folks in Utah are misunderstanding peacemaker," and what that means.
I agree with that. And I want to say, I think people are misunderstanding it on both sides of the aisle. I think that there are people who think it means rollover, right? And that's the tendency I have as a Canadian is to roll over and just be too nice. But I also think there are people who are like, it means the peacemaker in that one superheroes movie. And that means I just need to beat down my opponents. And it's like, pretty sure that's not what it means either. So I think find the balance of being a peacemaker.
Yeah, finding that balance is so tough because I tend
just
to
have courage. Just have courage.
yeah I tend to
Courage and the truth.
to be more like Brad in this regards, where I really want to say the things that I believe in, but it's really difficult balancing that with kindness and doing that properly.
I
So
need to be more
definitely
like
relate to
Brad.
that. And we
And I need to be more like you.
Oh,
I don't know if anyone's ever said that before, but I definitely need to be like Brad.
All
okay.
right, last super chats.
All right, Fog Defense says, not pride or even courage, confidence in the truth. I imagine that's context dependent. Ben here says, you need to have Morgan Philpott on. He has done some serious study on politics and the Second Coming. He's also given Ward Radio some shout outs. He is a really interesting, he actually lives in my stake. But he has
Let's
some
get him
very
on, dude.
cool-
Who's this cat?
I've tried
Morgan
before.
Philpott. He's run for office before here, right?
Yeah, he used to be in the state legislature. You remember the Bundys that got like attacked by the government a while?
Yeah.
It was,
Oh,
a
like
decade ago.
Ammon Bundy?
He
I
was their
love
lawyer.
This is
it.
a good
Oh, they
relation.
got attacked? You mean the dudes that voluntarily took over a federal building and seceded from the Union? I love how it's like the South when they're like, this was the war of northern aggression.
Well,
They
that
don't
was a
call it the
different
Civil
instance.
War.
That was a different instance. In this instance, it was like their property.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
up in
the
Midway
Bureau,
or
the Bureau of Land
in
Management.
Francis. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bureau of Land Management came in and said, you have like an endangered lizard on your property, was like trying
And
to
shut
take it
him
away,
down.
and they
Yeah.
said, no, this is our land. It's been our land for generations. And there ended up being, but yeah, Morgan Philpott was their lawyer, and
Yeah.
he's basically since retired from politics, refuses to do anything about it, and just
So-
studies the Second Coming and just puts out his opinion on it. He's pretty good at saying like, you should
Is he
go
on
study
Twitter
it
or
yourself.
on X?
I think he has an X account. He's
I
pretty
follow him.
elusive, honestly. He doesn't actually post his own videos. He lets other people record presentations that he does in person, and then those other people will post them on YouTube. But
Get him on
it's
Word
really-
Radio.
I've actually tried before. I don't know where it went. I provided his phone number with someone, and I don't know what happened with. But that was a while ago, so I could
Get it to me,
could
bro.
circle
I will
back on
call
that,
him
yeah.
tomorrow. I will
Oh, for
literally
sure.
say you're a repentant lawyer that is trying to make up
yeah.
for all of your scribal Sadducee lifetime.
not scared.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's a repentant lawyer and a repentant Republican who at one point worked in the Clinton White House.
You mean a repentant Democrat?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how he started out his political career, was an intern in the Clinton White House. Anyways, I'll send you his number, and he does tend to prefer to do like
He's not on the Epstein
longer
flight
form
logs, right?
stuff.
Oh,
No.
Yeah,
No.
I just got a text that Bundy thing was in Nevada.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
Nevada.
something completely different. Yep. It was
Okay,
down in
yeah.
Nevada. It was
They
the
ended up
cattle
having
grazing.
cases in Nevada and Oregon, and
That's right.
Oregon managed to actually win both of them.
He
Crazy.
will
Them
do our
versus-
Ezra's Eagle video. It's going to
Yeah,
be
he-
awesome.
He could definitely help with that. He's got some really interesting takes, and they're actually very, very compelling.
And so that was them versus the Bureau of Land Management. So that was like the first BLM riots.
Basically, yeah, basically.
Nice.
But yeah. Okay, do we want to keep moving on with the
Yeah,
super chats?
burn through the super chats,
Yeah.
bro.
All right. Brill Hernandez says, enjoying the conversation. Wish I could be there.
Bro.
Yeah, Brill's awesome. Blake Westmoreland says, I want to hear Dr. Manhattan's plan to fix Salt Lake City. That's a repeat. Someone else sent that later, too. James King said,
Do we want to do it right now?
we could do it right now. Yeah.
yeah,
You want
Okay.
the answer?
yeah, you got
'Cause
90 seconds, bro.
I think I know what it is.
All right. The church buys the Gateway indoor shopping mall. They buy all the land around it. They open up BYU Salt Lake. They attach it to the Triad Center, and they get 15,000 BYU students down there as a voting block. And you can make some big, big changes if you can increase, swing it to the right 6 or 7 points, and that's what it would take to do it.
That would be if
And-
they
and-
actually maintain the moral standards of
Well,
BYU Salt Lake, which has been an issue of BYU profile.
If you can keep them at that 63% that we're talking about, then that's enough to make a change.
Okay, I was close. I was thinking you were going to say put testosterone in the sacrament water.
Dude, I want you to have me back just for a whole conversation about that. We've got a crisis in our country on testosterone levels, and I'm not joking.
Okay.
And you all know
and
it.
that one, by the way, that one is courtesy of Dave Butler. He made that joke in the chat much earlier, so I wanted to make sure it got heard.
He's right.
Now,
it's absolutely true.
Dave Butler's in the chat. He should have come on. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I saw he's in there. Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
All right. Continuing on, Truth from Earth. First presidency said, "Don't vote a straight ticket." Utah rhinos like John Curtis and Spencer Cox are winning proof that many Utahns are sound asleep. I will say, I won't say which one, but I went to church with one of those guys for a couple of years. I was in his ward. And
I know which one it was.
Yeah, good guy. Might get sucked into the rhino machine a bit too much.
Okay.
I have no comment.
Bidget says, "We're so done that even the Amish started voting."
That was awesome.
Wait,
That
what?
is crazy.
180,000 Amish.
Wait,
That's
Well, and I heard
literally
because
what
they
he
were
won
like
by,
taking over
right?
their farms.
In Pennsylvania?
No,
Just
he actually,
about.
I think he's ahead by like 600,000. But man, that sure
okay.
helps.
Oh, is that might
yeah,
have
but I
Michigan?
mean,
Is that what it was?
I wish they were there in 2020, where it was decided by like 30,000 votes. They could have swung that. So
Wait, Brittany. So what happened? What'd you see on like House
I'm
and
not
Habit?
totally. Yeah, I hear everything on House and Habit. I'm not totally sure about the source, but something happened where Democrats went in and like were checking this guy's farm, and he was Amish, and he didn't
milk.
want to like.
He had unpasteurized milk. And
Yes.
they raided his house and took his cows.
And it pissed off the Amish, if Amish can be pissed off, and they went and voted for Trump.
It's like that
that's
scene from Witness where Harrison Ford ends up beating up the guy that is bullying the Amish. Like, Amish are just sitting in the wings like, you better watch out. If we mobilize our voting block, you are effed, dude.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Pennsylvania with 98% reporting has about 130,000 votes is how much Donald Trump is up on Kamala Harris.
There you go.
Basically, the Amish literally saved the day.
Literally,
Thank you, Amish.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amish people. Thank you for whoever raided that person's farm and took their pasteurized milk away from them under threats of violence. I really appreciate that move.
Can we just
that
all
quote from
agree?
Dr. Manhattan?
You don't raid and kill squirrels, and you don't raid the Amish. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it'll cause a red tsunami.
Those are the biggest.
John Wick
mistakes.
came out how many years ago, and these people have not learned.
When will you learn? When will you learn?
That's funny. More super chats. Ethan, hit it.
Yes. There are more LDS members than Jewish people in the world. That's from Fog Defense. I can't verify that at the moment, but I guess somebody could do a Google on that. Truth from Earth says Ether's Elephants video on LDS and Trump is great.
I haven't seen that one, but that guy he did like a fake hit piece on me that ended up being like kind of like a cool history of Cardin Ellis, but it was like Cardin Ellis revealed. And at first I was like, oh man, who started a hit piece on me? But the guy's editing is fast paced and hip. It's actually, he's a really good editor.
KU is Captain Moroni saying, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was funny.
hilarious.
That was really funny.
Nice.
We got to get him some softbox lights for his blue studio.
How do I get people to do stuff like this for me? I try my best. How do I get enemies like this?
Just keep coming on the show. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. So it's not an enemy thing. It looked like it based on the thumbnail, which is the funny clickbait, because then people will click on it.
I see.
But the guy
and
was
it's like Cardin married a super pretty lady, and he's super tall and successful, and
No, that's the truth.
yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
So
That's
anyway,
not
Brittany, the only time I've ever met you, you gave me a sandwich. I think the world of you. I think you're the coolest woman I've ever met.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan.
that's funny. So anyway, I reached out, and I was the first, and I think it was the algorithm author offered it up to me because obviously Cardin Ellis is showing up in a lot of our video descriptions. And so he did respond. He's like, whoa, I had no idea you would be like the first person watching my video. Because I think I literally typed in first on there. And I was like, oh, hey, this is, I never thought I'd see this video or something like that. And so I ended up literally being the first comment. But I told him to reach out on the website. So hopefully he reaches out on the website.
Awesome.
And we end up doing something together. So yeah, keep going.
But by the
All
way,
right.
I got a quick fact check on the Mormons population versus the Jewish population. Mormons are apparently at around 17 million, while the Jewish population is about 16 million.
Oh,
So,
And there are counterpart on voting. If you look at that voting list, Jewish people of the Jewish faith are 67% Democrat, as opposed to the Latter-day Saints, which is 63%. So they're almost our counterpart on that vote.
That's interesting.
we complete each other in the House of Israel, apparently.
There you go.
They're strange because the religion is the ethnicity. So there's
Yes.
kind of this weird blend of like,
I was
you're
trying to
not
figure out the right way
actually
to
talking
say
about a
that.
religion.
I was trying to figure out the right way to say that appropriately, but thank you. Yeah.
But interestingly enough, that's kind of starting to be a thing for Latter-day Saints too. But we can.
Yeah.
I know, they're
that's
trying
an
to make it a
entirely
thing.
separate episode.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Dehlin
Yeah.
oftentimes has said, like, yes, I'm Mormon, yes, I'm Mormon. It's like, no, bro, we're not an ethno-religion. This is not Judaism. We are a regular religion, and you are an excommunicated post-member. So don't say that you're, oh, yes, I'm Mormon. Mormon doesn't mean Utah. They keep trying to conflate I'm Utah with being Mormon, and sorry, that don't fly.
Pardon, this is Californian talk that I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Most definitely. It's I think it's anti-Mormon rule of the top 30 rules of anti-Mormons. I think it's anti-Mormon rule number 8 is they always try and substitute Utah-isms for Mormon-isms. And I still got to finish that book. So anyway, keep going. Ethan, burn us through these
All right.
last couple of super chats. We've got
3
2 minutes
more.
left.
3 more. El Marie says, Jesus said, if you love me, blank, as in like, fill in the blank, more than me, you are not worthy of me. There is no teddy bear Jesus or social justice warrior Jesus. There is only the Christ with a sword bathed in heaven. Let's go.
Hey, that was a really good act out, Ethan. That was really good, bro. That was
Well, I didn't want to
So enthusiastic.
scream, but I feel like that's what Elle wanted, but it's too late for me to scream right now.
Yeah.
And then said, if Latter-day Saint Republicans were cozy, they should check out the 1856 National Convention platform. That's a
The
good point.
twin relics of barbarism are slavery and polygamy.
Yep. All right.
They-
T. Dijon says, I'm grateful for you guys. Carry on. And then this one is for Brad. It's Brad's USCIS agent. Says, Mr. Whitbeck, give us a call. Your bribe of Canadian maple syrup does not suffice. Please meet with me at the usual Starbucks. I'll mark the box with chalk.
I'll be there.
That's funny.
And then Fog Defense confirmed the numbers on members of the church and Jews. And Stephen Diamond says, Temple Rocks and Priesthood Restoration site mentions, parentheses, Cardin, the rocks turned red yesterday. They also started floating, something new.
Don't know what's going on.
They're just celebrating the Trump victory.
I love
Nothing wrong with
this.
that.
Even the rocks in the earth celebrate this.
And then we missed a couple. Let me grab these. real fast.
Yeah, hit it. Thank
Richard Gank said, Manhattan, you joked about buying this
Salt Lake Tribune.
the Salt Lake Tribune on X. Any chance you'd support making a competitor? I know folks who could make it happen.
I mean, there's a lot of things. We'll see what the next decade brings for me. But I'm not a fan of the Salt Lake Tribune. I think they do a lot of they profit off of division and hurt, and I don't like that. And they were founded to destroy us, and I would love to take their weapon from them and use it against them. That would be a great thing to do.
So just chill out on some of the LED lighting behind you, and you got enough money to freaking buy the Salt Lake Tribune, bro. They're
a nonprofit now. It's going to be a little trickier, but if you look at what they've been doing with that AI company and that Elon Musk started, they just twisted that thing right out of that nonprofit, without batting an eye. And now it's worth billions and billions of dollars. So if they can do it, why can't a little guy like me do it?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
do it.
Now,
Last
super
we have
chats.
another related to this. Tyson Hughes says, Ben, when are we doing the Gladiator 2 party?
Do you know what that's about?
No.
Yeah, I bought a. Have you seen the movie Gladiator?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I actually bought the screen used outfit of his slave costume. It was a decoration for this theater. So
seriously?
Yeah, so I got to put that up here somewhere. I got to find a place for it. And I think that I'm assuming that's what it's about. They're talking about Gladiator 2, watching it in here. So,
Oh, dude, be honest. When you bought that, have you put it on and looked at yourself in the mirror yet?
I have not, but my wife has begged me to. So we'll see what
Whoa, that's some role play. You just put the soundtrack on.
I want to keep it pristine, okay? But that would have made an awesome Halloween costume. Had the sword, the leather boots, the leather belt all the way around. It's a cool outfit, stained with dirt and yellow paint where he was marked to be a gladiator. And I think I'm gonna watch that in here maybe.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
And then finally, Diamond Dave said, "Loving the stream. Here's money."
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you, Diamond Dave.
We'll take it. So, unfortunately, guys, all good things must come to an end. And I told these
Can I
dudes,
have some negativity real quick?
Yes, sure. Hit some negativity.
I've been too positive here.
Okay.
I got called out by Greg and Jacob for being too positive about everything. And Ben.
Now the doom has settled in.
Yeah. No, so I think that woke can be kicked back on its heels. I think it has been kicked back on its heels. What has not been addressed in this election, what has only been exacerbated in this election, is the divide between men and women, especially unmarried men and unmarried women. And
so get married.
The gospel is based on family. Society is based on family. And if there's a disconnect in the politics, which kind of trickles back up to the worldview of unmarried men and unmarried women, it's going to cause problems. And in 2 decades,
let's get those young women married, Luke. Come on.
Well, I know,
let's tell those young men, get after it.
But if one is based and the other one is woke, then
if the man is based, the wife will become based as well. Just give it some time.
But they have to get married first. She has to agree to date him first.
Married.
No, Luke, they don't have to get married first. Did you see? Do you remember that?
I'm going to say
video
something
from a while
wildly
back?
inappropriate, Ethan. I'm going to say something wildly inappropriate.
Okay.
Girls kind of like guys that are high testosterone and right wing.
Well, that's what I.
I know that may be inappropriate to say, but
no, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Women like men, so just
there was
get
that
after
video,
it, guys.
Of the it was like this super liberal LA girl, and that was like feminist and all that, and she posted this video saying, guys, I just went on a date with this guy, and let me tell you, he had everything planned out. He knew what he was doing. He was confident. He laid his card on the table and paid for everything. And it's just like, I felt the feminism leaving my body. And so as it turns out, when guys stand up and learn to become men, the women around them start to actually be women. And that's one of the important distinctions.
My wife just texted me right now. It came across my screen. It says, tell them I voted for Al Gore.
Yeah.
My wife just texted that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my wife was never super political.
Yeah.
I've been making a lot of efforts to try to really understand my masculinity better lately and to really fulfill that better.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's at all related, but her TikTok feed is just full of like Charlie Kirk and turning point stuff now. Okay. Yep. And so like it does have an impact, and that's
get married,
why it's
men.
so important for men
to
out
be
there. Men.
Yep. You got to have your wife to be the heart of the household and to give love and keep the glue together,
And they can't do that if you're not their foundation.
That's right.
And maybe
I feel like Brittany should say something. I'm seeing her just, I don't know if she's mad at me for saying these
my mind is reeling. I think there comes a point in every female's life where you want to be taken care of. So up until then, it's fun to go out and party and be with, whoever you want to be with. But then there comes a point where maybe it comes with maturity where you just want to be taken care of. And I think that does come with masculine men. I think there comes a time where you want them to take over, and you want, I'm going to get clipped now. But like where you want, I think what Ethan was saying, like you want to grow in your femininity, and that only comes if there's a masculine partner, because then you feel safe and you feel secure and you feel like you can go out and branch out in your femininity, and
you should never have to apologize for that or feel bad about it.
I really feel besmirched here, and I want you to define masculinity, because I don't feel seen right now, and I'm a little bit triggered by some of these problematic keywords that I've just been seen like thrown around. So can you just go into detail?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Savage.
What I'm really
I know
hearing
that
here
there's not.
is that
I know there's. Oop,
it's okay.
Who's going
My
to be more
joke
polite?
Can wait for another interruption.
No, go for it, Brad. Say your joke, and then Luke can go.
No,
Go.
I'm taking over. I'm a manly man. No, I'm married already. I don't need to worry about that. You go, Brad.
All I'm hearing is that Ward Radio just needs to step it up and make an arranged marriage dating app.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, but I've actually already talked to coders about a dating app.
Good.
And actually, because
Let's get these people married.
here's the reason why, is we're very popular with single adults. And do you know what just became the largest block of the church 3 years ago?
Single adults.
Single adults. Single adults, baptized members of the church that are in whatever capacity of attendance they're at, but single adults are now the largest voting block. And frankly, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are a little bit odd. Mutual's great, but there's no real competition to it. And whenever you go out into the Tinder sphere and everything, the secular apps, it's kind of rough. And so, actually, I think, like Shaquille O'Neal said, if you ever invest, whether it's, your time or your money, but with the desire of helping people, that's a real big game changer. And that's actually something where I think uniquely, like you, me, Brad, Kwaku, there's this weird, Ward Radio, I think is unique enough and weird enough where if I actually launched that, it could do a good job at it, So, that's been, maybe we could get Kwaku married finally. That would be worth the success.
I still need
anyway,
to be in one of these with Kwaku.
Yeah, dude, for real. So anyway, last super chat, and then we got to go, man.
Okay, we got Truth from Earth says, offer thanks, spend more time in the temple. I think that's a very, very good reminder.
Counsel. Good counsel.
Yeah, great counsel. And then El Marie says, all our based boys belong to us, the matriarchy.
Nice.
That's funny.
Love it.
That's
Nice.
funny. Any more left?
I think
that
covers them all. Yeah.
All right, cool. Sweet. Well,
thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, like we said. I'm sorry, Brad. Finish what you got to say, and then I'll do an outro.
I was just saying thank you for the idea that you put forward here with hey, this is a hopeful big tent sort of thing moving forward. You don't need to be scared. Talk to your neighbors. I think the more people get out of their own homes and talk to the people around them, the better off we're all going to be. I think of the, you guys know the parable of the ants in the jar, where the black ants and the red ants, if they're left in a jar together, they'll kind of hang out and nothing will be a problem. But if someone shakes the jar, they start attacking each other.
Huh.
I think that our political system more often than not is the hand that's shaking the jar, and we start attacking each other when really we have no reason to fight one another, right? So I think the more that we talk to one another, the less we'll believe polarizing media sources.
Yeah.
Be like Brad.
Be like Brad. BLB. Be like Brad. There's WWJD and then BLB. Be like Brad. I'm digging it. All right. So, guys, it's been real and it's been fun and it's been real fun. Before we go, Luke, do you have any cool news stories coming out? You are the editor-in-chief of Ward Radio News. You and Ethan, man, you hit it. Do you got anything coming out soon?
I'm actually putting together the LDS homeschooling one.
Okay.
The Christian, what would you call it? Ostracization against Latter-day Saints, or the lack thereof.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
And also
Okay.
Alicia Brown, she snuck in right at the end here, and she says, yes, please, for arranged marriage app.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if she supports it, then I know it would
Fiddler
be a
on the Roof
success.
style.
All right. Awesome. Okay, Ben, how can people find you if they want to see more of you, my man?
I can't imagine anyone would want to see more of me, but if you are a masochist, then that's fine. You can find me on X or Twitter at Manhatva, like the island of Manhattan with a VA at the end. MANHATTVA, Manhatva.
Yeah, awesome. And Brad,
I'm not a real doctor.
you're not a real doctor. That's funny. And Brad, you got
Being
your
upfront
book.
about it.
Can you pub your book before we
Oh,
go,
yeah.
man?
Where'd I put it?
If you don't have a copy, I do.
Okay, I might need that. I'm sitting here with Jonah's book.
That's funny.
Here,
That's
I got
funny.
this one right here.
Hit it. Hit it.
So, yeah, guys, check out Dragon Thief, a fun, epic fantasy book written by Blake and Raven Penn. That's my pen name and my wife's pen name. It's super fun to co-author stuff with her. It's a blast. It's a fun dragon fantasy book. We actually are launching our third book really soon. So if you want to go pre-order that one too, they're a blast. They're really, really good books. I'm gonna maybe a little bit biased.
I'm gonna blast you on Twitter. So send me that information so I can blast out to thousands of people.
Will do. Right? Thanks, man. Yeah. That'll be awesome.
And also, I'm just going to tell you right now, Brad, just hold on. Give me 2 seconds here to make sure that this transaction is complete. I just need 30 seconds right here to make sure that it goes through. I think you are going to appreciate this, or at least think it is funny. Okay. It is processing. It is processing. It is processing. But I am going to do this through PizApal pretty soon, at least for 1 year. Give me 2 seconds. You're going to appreciate this as it refreshes. Okay. I just did it. Okay. I just did you a favor. Do you know what favor I just did for you, Brad?
You just bought a website.
I just bought blakeandravenpen.com.
Boom.
So I will be posting pornography.
This is blackmail.
Until you
deposit $10,000
until you step up your game. You know what I'm saying? And write a fourth book and come on the podcast more. I'm going to pull a Mormon.org, leverage this against you. You know what I'm saying? But actually, as you said, Blake and Raven Penn, I was like, I better check on that. And I just checked on it. So I just brought you URL, bro. So you can have that. You know what I'm saying? You can have that, my man.
We're using SkystoneChronicles.com, but we'll eventually need to use BlakeandRavenPen.com. So
okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, we'll eventually
for the next year
eventually do a leg wrestle over that one. Is that or stick pull?
Dude, I will wrap my legs around yours any day of the week.
Okay, it's been real and it's been fun. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us.
Oh wait, it's good to see you again,
Luke's.
Wait.
Oh wait.
Yeah, we're getting Luke.
We're good.
Yeah, what do you got? Anything else, Luke?
Oh no, nothing else.
Okay, cool, awesome. Well, it's been real.
Thanks,
and it's
guys.
been
Thank you,
fun,
Brittany.
and it's been real fun. For this and more, please make sure that you guys check us out at wardradio.com. Okay, hold on,
built
guys.
a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now.